We're back, Jerry. Episode 4, wouldn't you know? Episode
Hang on a
4.
You know what I was going to say, Tom? Like, nobody ever likes to hear this on the podcast, but I'm going to do it now. That's the sound of spitting into hands and rubbing them together.
Yeah, it's a dusty one, isn't it? To blow the dust off the fucking notes here, like it's dusty. I'm using a rock to hold down the notes on the bonnet of a car here as I talk to you.
Because we are all fucking business this week, Tom. So we are. It's spit into your hands, rub them together, and get down to brass tacks. Enough of this old talk and crack. This week on the Tom and Gerry Show, and you're all very welcome. But this week on the Tom and Gerry Show, we're going to do a bit of labour.
Where Tom and Gerry are going to build a house.
We are going to build a house, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, like this has been a long time coming, Tom.
It has been a long time coming, and we're not purposely trying to be total hipsters here by trying to find things that other people haven't done, but we kind of so far have. And all I've ever heard so far is advice podcasts and whatnot. Nobody has gone bust into the site to turning a key. Nobody's ever done a podcast, and this is maybe we're a bit foolhardy, but I reckon we'll get it done, Jer. I reckon we'll make a good job of this.
If anybody listening to this podcast is looking to turn a sod on a greenfield site and build a house, but doesn't know where to start here.
This is exactly what we're doing it for. So far, we hadn't been doing things purely for the basis that it was just our pleasure. But I think this will actually benefit people, if nothing else. Getting knowledge out of our head.
And we've got priors, Tom. I mean, like, you worked on the buildings for many years in very high up roles, I got to tell you. You weren't just throwing blocks up a scaffold now, so you weren't.
I have done my share of hauling blocks and whatnot, but listen, we'll get to it somewhere in this. We'll explain why we're here. We're not just a couple of fucking Mickey Mouse characters, albeit the show is called Tom and Gerry. We would fall.
Well, look, Tom, without further ado, and our listeners, you're all very welcome back to the Tom and Gerry Show podcast, and thank you for your love and support so far in season 6. It's been absolutely wonderful. I told you we weren't going to fucking shoot ourselves in the foot by changing up the format of the show. People seem to like it, or at least people have been polite enough not to say that they hate it.
We are getting banging comments, really, really long comments from people. People have gone on. We've created more fucking wormhole rabbit holes than Elon Musk could ever hope to fucking create. The amount of people that have gone down rabbit holes as a result of our last 3 episodes, going, what? Half my day is now either gone on fucking these guys or it's brilliant. I love it. I love it. I'm glad.
Let's give them some more. Let's give them some more to talk about, and let's give them some work to do. Tom, it's time to build a house.
All right. So let's get into it. Since time has began, man, woman, beast has always needed a place to hang their hat in the evening. Christ, even the lads in Dordogne 20,000 years ago decorated their caves when making them their own. And with the advent of TV shows like Kevin McClown's Grand Designs, George Clark's, take your pick, really, he's got 17 million shows, or Dermot Bannon's Room to Improve. It would seem society has developed a right hankering for not just house ownership, but house buildership.
I gotta tell you, I've never watched Dermot Bannon. And I hear everybody banging on about him, and I've never not watched a frame of it, Tom.
I'm very surprised by that, because I would have thought purely for live Twitter, because you are a great man by tweeting things live. It is ripe for you, in all fairness, because there's so many Irish things in it too, that kind of way.
Yeah, but at the same time, Tom, like, boys that served in Vietnam didn't fucking line up to buy a ticket to Platoon, I get you. It's not what we call entertainment.
I know. And to be honest with you, I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes of that myself. I do like the obscurity of some of the things that George Clark does when he does Amazing Spaces. Gives you good old ideas for sheds and things like that. But when it comes to actually building houses and all the rest, I watch Kevin McLeod purely for Kevin McLeod, because he's an absolute knob. He's ridiculous.
That's the Highlander, isn't it?
Related, yeah. Although the accent is nearly just as close. Yeah. Oh, my name is Duncan MacLeod. That's a Clan MacLeod. It's the sword behind me. Can you recognize that sword, Ger? Do you recognize the sword behind me?
I can't get a good look at it.
It's just over my shoulder. It was Conan's one. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Any keen-eared people from our previous episodes, or Series 5 and Series 4, we actually had a little clip from Conan.
Oh, I see it now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'd fucking crush a few enemies with that, all right.
Yes, you would. And hear the lamentations of our women. But none of these things have anything to do with these house building shows. But people are going mad for them. And Twitter lights up. So The main thing here that I've spotted is that on every single one of these shows, they fail to kind of pick up the day-to-day whole pain. Now, I know they have a TV show to make and all the rest of it that's involved with self-build. And of course, the candidates have, that they pick have a harrowing story, a la, X Factor or whatever, where the sad music plays, or simply they're complete lunatics who have no clue what in the Christ they've let themselves in for. So with that in mind, we here at T&G and Sons felt it right that we should outlay for the layperson the steps that are involved in building, budding builders among you be bold enough to take on a self-build, or at the very least, have some ammo for when that contractor starts sucking through his teeth and glaring, the enormity of the job in hand. Or if you just want to be a bit smug sitting on the sofa next week, you can sit there and talk them through. Just point things out like a proper smug bastard does. Do you find yourself doing that when you've watched these shows?
I was just going to say, I'd be more along the lines of the contractor. I've had a few boys in here going like, that's going to be a big job. And I'd be like, is it now? With my limited knowledge, I can tell you it's not. Oh, I don't know how I'd be able to do that. Oh, don't you now? Allow me to give you a few fucking tips, pal. So I like that. Anybody that's building a house from now on, if your contractor comes along and goes, oh yeah, we've run out of wall plate, you listen to this podcast and you'll be able to go, no bollocks, 80 foot of it over there.
Exactly. And we will do this in a step-by-step guide, so you can literally skip back to the point. Make notes, get out the notebooks, make notes if you're even considering building an extension out the back. This will apply to everything, but we are going to go from the ground up so that you can actually go back and find the step and go, hold on, the two buys. Because I know you're thinking at this time, how in the hell could two comedians have a bog's notion, a fucking clue how to even begin telling us how to build a house? Well, like Gerry was saying earlier, rest easy. Gerry, if anybody, and I'm sure you all do follow him on socials, Gerry's kind of a serial and extremely talented DIYer. Honestly, he'd put me to shame when it comes to DIY and the imaginative things now, Gerry, in all fairness to you.
Some might say only a crazy person could think them up.
No, and case in point, and I hope you didn't get any guff off the bin company, did you, for putting a tap on your bin?
Not yet, Tom.
Okay, I might have to edit that bit out. But you know what I mean? You think outside the box.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Oh yeah, I'll give it a go, Tom. Yes, absolutely, sir. I've got 12 years experience in the hardware business, don't you know? I used to work in several hardware and builders providers, uphill and downhill, Tom. Some of them I had to stop working in them because the owners asked me to.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, like, there's hardly a length of timber or a fixing or a sealant that you didn't see nor like, I'd say, is there?
No, I'll tell you, and that's why we said earlier, when you have a contractor going like, there's no fitting alive that'll do that job, that's when you get fucking Gerry over there to go, hang on a second, I can name you 5. Yeah,
in all fairness, I've gone to you a few times going, come here, and then product names, really products is what Gerry knows the products throughout. And like Gerry was saying, I've spent my time, I was a site civil engineer for a good few years, 12 years in construction, hauled a lot of blocks, laboured for the first couple of years, and I've kind of seen a fair bit of it. Granted, an awful lot of it was just shouting while I was doing the engineering stuff, but it was during the boom, lads. Everybody was shouting, making a fortune, shouting, aging, going grey in my 20s. But you know what I mean? It was good times. We learned a bit.
Long story short, we're not going to put you that far wrong.
Exactly.
You're not going to set out to build a dormer bungalow, follow our instructions, and end up with like a fire station or something.
The idea is here just to steer you right. Do you know what I mean? Just to steer you right. So, that being said, let's get off to the races. So, chuck on your hard hat, pull on your steel cap boots, and fire on the old Visi vest. We're heading to site. So, first and foremost, we'll just skip over the bits, and people can come back with questions and stuff we may or may not be able to answer, but for the project of this, we're given a very broad one. So we'll assume that your planning has been granted and it's for a standard 2-story masonry house with a strip foundation. It's in good soil and whatnot. Now, we're not going to debate the merits of, your operation being either direct labor, which is essentially you being your own building company and you hiring the trades and materials as per you need them. No, or, you can go hire a builder who'll do all that. Today is for those people who actually fancy project managing the job themselves. So this episode, we're going to paint by numbers, literally step by step, on how to go about building the fucking thing with as few hidey-ho surprises as we can manage. So we're making the assumption that you've all the trades found too. We're not going to tell you how to go through the yellow pages, or anything like. You found them, or you've talked to a cousin who used a fella one time. You've got a list of them, right? We're assuming that's all been done. This is a pure step-by-step as to how the thing comes out of the ground. So, let's get building.
Let's get some work done.
I'm sure there's that should be, the way they move that bus. Have you ever seen that one? No, that show, the American ones. Everybody cries. Everybody cries.
Everybody whinges, Tom.
Oh, the cribbing. The cribbing is something severe. So like I said, we're going to give you just step by step. This isn't going to be as big storyboard of a thing. Step by step as to how you're going to get this thing out of the ground. And Jer and myself.
Build your house in 100 easy parts. Issue 1 is only 99 cents.
You're going to have to buy a 3D printer for the rest of it, Jer. You know what? We joke, but you can get houses 3D built now. So
save that for the next episode.
No, I wouldn't. No, no. This is old school. This is how you'll have to do it in Ireland. This is old school, in all fairness. So,
all right, Tom, build me a two-story masonry house with a strip foundation on a greenfield site in the country, there, pal.
Let's get her done. Right. First things first. Site prep. You got to do it. You got to do it. Same as baking a cake. You got to do it. So once your planning and preparatory work is in place and you've everybody gotten and all the rest of it, all the trades are ready to go, where your materials are, and this site prep doesn't just include, cleaning debris and it also ensuring that, the necessary facilities are set up for tradespeople. So your very first thing before you even go into the place, you got to take out self-build insurance policy.
Yeah. Going to be none of that slip and fall shit around here, Tom.
Exactly. Because it will fucking happen. I guarantee it'll happen. If you don't take it out, I guarantee it'll happen. And it's self-build. So there's two different ones. There's ones for if you actually have a builder, because the builder will have his own, but you'll have your. Take out your self-build one. You'll be glad you did it. Now, you'll have gotten these boys in. These are the roughnecks, ground workers. You want them to create a good wide access. We're assuming you're on your own greenfield site, so a good wide site access.
Yeah, and if you haven't created a wide enough one, don't worry. The first lorry to deliver stuff to the place will widen it for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just pick a hole and he will bust it out the rest of the way. So you're going to clear the site, strip back all vegetation, soil, topsoil, essentially, get back to the subsoil. Stacking material nice, retain it out of the way because you're going to want that when it comes to landscaping. So pack it away nicely.
Yeah. This is like if you eat your pizza like a child and you take all the cheese off the top of it. And leave that to one side and eat the base of the pizza and say, I'm going to eat that cheese last, okay?
Oh,
that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here, Tom, all right? We remember this cheese that we've got here, this vegetable style and stacking material. Remember that. That's going to come back later on. I
love that. That's absolutely, perfect. Right, we're coming back to the cheese later on. Store the cheese safely in the corner of the site. So now you're going to bring in a bunch of stone, probably 30, 40 ton of stone, and you're going to make a nice yard for material and workplace. You know what I mean?
That's pretty hardcore, Tom.
I knew it.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you, there's some really hard-working puns here for those that want them, and I'm not gonna explain one of them, but that one right there, I stand by it.
So 110%, and I don't want you to explain a single one. So Gerry is mostly going to be a pun machine throughout this entire show. This is
without a shadow of a doubt.
So after you've stoned the yard, you got a nice tidy setup. You want to set up a hut. Simple. You want to bring in a cabin of some sort and equip it with drawings and safety equipment. You have to have a base. You know what I mean?
Yep. And like if you have a Pirelli calendar, here's the place for it.
Yeah. Any oil company also will sort you out with a calendar. You got to have a calendar in there. Probably one of the most important things on site. Now, this is all kind of going, fuck, there's no crack in this. You got to do it first. This is like a makeup tutorial where right now we're just setting up the room.
This is the washing of your face here.
Is this it? This is the washing of your face? Okay, all right.
As best I understand these things.
So one of the most important things, you got to set up a toilet. Take out a portaloo. You can hire one. They're about 40 quid a week. They clean it out. Get up a portaloo. Am I right or am I wrong, Jer?
Money well spent, Tom.
Now, you'll be very glad you got this. And I would suggest hiring one. Although you'll never lose a penny on it. You got to get yourself a lockup. Normally a lorry container. The ones with Bell written up the side of them. The steel containers that people, hippies or hipsters are making coffee places out of essentially now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and Tom, you buy it and sell it for the same price. Yeah. So you're not going to be fucking down money.
No, not at all. I mean, if you can find a guy, you're looking for a good 40-foot one. Here's the truth. For the last, they haven't really changed much price. You're looking about anywhere between 3,500 for one.
Yeah.
You'll never be sorry. And you'll sell it for the exact same price. So
there you go.
You know what?
It's money in the bank.
Money in the bank.
I wish the bank gave me the assurance of that, Tom. Or don't get a lockup box and have everybody rob your shit. Come on.
Literally, it's for your shit. You know what I mean? Because there are going to be tools on site and whatnot, and you can't expect, you're going to have stuff. You're going to have materials like cement and stuff. Like, you can't have a fucking robbed, lads. This is one of the most essential things. It's just like your insurance policy. Now, you're going to also have made contact with the water board, so whatever county council water board you're with, and they're going to bring a supply to the stopcock on the boundary. Do you know what I mean? They're going to set you up with tapping off the boundary, because there's water mains running under every road in Ireland. I say that, but there's places in Wicklow, Jared, that every poor misfortunate have to have a well. It's not part of standard. We're not going with the queer ones. But if you do have questions after this, I'll try and answer them as best I can. But for standard, there's a water main under the road. So, of course, you'll have your plumber on board. He'll connect the water pipe, essentially, and bring water into the site for you. Do you know?
Yeah. Or if you want, you can dart down to the supermarket and buy, like, one of those pallets of water. Do you know? Like... You have options here, is what we're telling you.
You have options, but okay, that's kind of...
One is an easier option than others.
Essentially, what you're doing there is most likely the work of a man who hasn't got planning permission, and you're just building away for the crack. You'll get no water of electricity, and you may be told to pull it down, but look at... You'll
more on that later.
More, exactly. Now we're starting to make shapes. We bring the surveyor. So the likes of what I used to do, essentially, would go in and mark out where the building is going. You know what I mean? And you'll clear back everything there. And those, I say that, you can transfer the lines of profiles, the heights and all that, but don't worry about that, really. He's just coming in to mark out where the house exactly is going, because up next, we will actually be doing some building. So you won't be sorry you did it. Now is the time to get a truckload of blocks in. Truckloads of blocks, bricks, get them stacked nicely over the side. They ain't going to go off or rot anywhere.
Fucking man Lego. Yes.
That's the company we need to set
Big
up.
Big boy Lego.
Selling blocks and just call it Man Lego. Man Lego. It absolutely is. And you won't be sorry you did, because there'll be boundary walls. You'll never have enough blocks.
Yeah. And this is like, this is where you pick out, okay, I want block. No, I want red brick. No, I want stone. No, I want whatever. Whatever you're going to build the fucking house with, get it on site.
Yeah, exactly. Because the likes of this won't go off. You're absolutely fine having it on site. Last but not least, every one of these will have it's dream scenario stuff for when your contractors do come in and they see this laid out in front of them. Next and final on the site prep is setting up a mixer in the corner. Setting up a mixer, because not everything can be brought to the site pre-made. Set up a mixer in the corner with a nice big 20-30 ton of sand. You're going to need it. Plastering, block work, lots of stuff are going to need it. Get it on board. You know what I mean?
And after that, you can start picking out the colour for the sitting room, right, Tom? Fucking hard work's done, isn't it?
You know what? Yeah, you could, I suppose, but you may write it down somewhere, Jer. You may write it down.
Like this is what you've just done right here now, Tom, is you've converted a field into a site.
Yeah. We literally, that's exactly what we've done. So things are really happening now. People are going to start poking their heads in over your ditch now at this stage, going, right. Now
man, you building a house there?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, lovely. The nosy fella anyway would have already known, because he would have probably looked up your plan and notice written out in the road. But I'd write it all in Irish as well too, just to annoy people, just so they have to work
just for fucking vexation.
Exactly. Also, I forgot to put in here, but look, no harm to get what's known as Harris fencing. You'll see it at the side of the likes of festivals and stuff like that. It's about 8 foot tall. Couple of sheets of that wouldn't hurt, just to deter whoever's coming in for a nose in the evening time. Ne'er-do-wells. Exactly, Jerry. Exactly. Now, look, there's going to be a few things that you're going to need here if this is absolute greenfield, because you don't want to be caught cold. Myself and Jerry have talked about this loads, but you are going to need, a shovel. Make sure and write your fucking name on everything, because even if lads aren't bad-minded, they may go in the back of the van. Make sure you have your name written on everything. So whether it is a fucking shovel, a vice grips. Jared, would you suggest getting a small van? Maybe €1,000 van yourself?
Getting, like I say, get some van, as we used to call them up airway, Tom, a yoke for the fields.
Now you're talking.
And use it as a little mobile toolbox, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like, but do you need a van, Tom? You need a pair of vice grips and a shovel. Well,
Yeah.
it's 90% of the fucking way.
You're like almost everything I've named there. You can pretty much get sorted with a vice grips or a shovel, and you are going to be up and down to the hoard and fucking builders providers when things are just, you know, short. So you may as well have a small van rather than wrecking the family yoke. You know what I mean? With dust all over it, which I have done, Jer. I have wrecked the family yoke. In fact,
I'm in the process of wrecking one right now.
Fantastic, because I am actually trying to peel back the layers of dust that are all over the inside of my car at the moment. And Henry the Hoover has never looked so sick. I can tell you that much. It's so I would suggest, get your hands on, you know, also I haven't put it in here, but I would suggest if you ever see them, now they won't come up too often, but if you do, get your hands on, you know, a small little forklift of some sort, whether it be, you know, an old JCB land, you know, load up, or even an old JCB, stick 2 forks on it. You'd be always glad 'tis there, you know, out.
And you can sell it on the minute you're done.
And you won't lose a bean. You won't lose a bean for them things. Same as that. €1,000 van. You won't be sorry. You'll be delighted. In fact, you'll probably be converted. So now.
So Tom, now in the realms of makeup tutorials, we've washed our face. Now let's move on to our foundation.
There we go. Brilliant. There you go. This is why I bring McBride in. He's a creative genius. I just write this shit and McBride comes in and just puts a little bit of gold dust on it. Exactly, girls. Exactly. I'm not suggesting, you know, whoever, but, you know, we won't be heading into contouring land just yet. Actually, do you know what?
That comes later.
I know for a fact you watch makeup tutorial videos because I know you have, and I've had makeup done professionally for a radio station.
I've never sat down to purposely watch one of them, Tom. No, not my wheelhouse. But there was a lady beside me on the train one morning who was watching one on her phone for a full hour. And, like, you know, anytime I'd glance over into her phone, I'm here for looking into people's phones when I'm on the train. Not for nosiness. Now, I won't be reading your messages or anything like that. But I'm very... I'm trying to keep aware of what young people are watching, what older people are watching.
That's what I mean. I didn't think you were.
I guess it is a bit of nosiness, but like, you know, you kind of have to keep abreast of these things so that you can tap into their mindsets as a comedian. Tom, is how I rationalize it to myself. Although I was at it long before I was a comedian. She watched this fucking makeup tutorial video for a full hour, and it was just another lady putting her makeup on, and I was like, okay, I guess. But hey, Tom. Here are our listeners listening to us build a house. So what the fuck can we say? I know. And it's probably going to take longer than an hour. But look, I get it. It's maybe as important to some people. So like you said, foundations. We've washed our face and now we're into foundations. So foundations, of course, like any undergarment, you know, they come in various shapes and sizes and for many different purposes. Like we're building a strip today, which is one of the most common and cheapest ones too. Of course, you can have a pad, a raft, or a piled. You know, but for the most common you'll find in Ireland, there's about 15 or 16 mega ones out there that you know, if you're putting in a regular house, any one of those 4 will absolutely do you. For the most parts of Ireland, realistically, you know, a strip will actually do you. For long-term listeners, a strip foundation is what I fell into when I was drunk.
There you go. For eagle-eared listeners, exactly. Yeah. Gerry terrifyingly fell into a strip foundation out flaming drunk in Monaghan one night. But you need a foundation. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. Once upon a time, they'd throw a couple of rocks down or just build straight off the ground and just hope for the best. Yeah, you need a foundation.
You need a foundation.
No two ways about it. So
I got nothing to add to that, Tom. You need a foundation. It's not a point that I wish to argue.
So if you want to know more, I'm not going to get into, you know, the different types and all the rest of it. The pad and the raft aren't a million miles off. They're exactly what they sound like, a big old fucking pile of concrete laid out where, you know, it's unstable ground. The other ones are for the more unstable ground. Piles are like driving big fucking nails into the ground and then tacking onto the top of it. Essentially, stiletto heel effect, if you know what I mean.
I do like the sound of a pile being driven, Tom.
At 6:30 in the morning, I've gotten plenty of complaints from people fucking giving out bonk, 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 bonk. But although typically you'll be drilling these ones, which are very fun to watch being done. Anyway, today, like I said, we're digging a strip foundation, which will be about the width of the bucket on the digger. Normally, you dig it 900 wide for the external walls and anything 300 to 400 on the internal walls. Normally, you're going 3 times the width of the foundation is of the wall above it. You know what I mean? Thereabouts. It'll be thereabouts. So,
yeah, nobody's going to put a measuring tape to it.
Oh, you might. You may actually have building
Oh,
control.
really?
Yeah, you might have building control, especially if you're a developer and you're building for people. You will have possibly an engineer come out. And again, I'm not getting into the engineer stage payments. I'm assuming you've got a ball of money in your back pocket and you're building this for cash, right?
Very good.
So let's assume nobody's coming out that can measure it. I could suggest it is direct. We're digging channels directly under the walls of the first floor of the house. So again, the boys are back. Ground workers in with their diggers to dig out the foundations.
Let's wake the neighbors, Tom.
Exactly, because these boys like to start early. Like that, and when you have a whole beautiful strip dug out of the shape of the whole house, this is the time to position any reinforcement bars, mesh cages. You will be putting in some sort of rebar. You just have to. It strengthens the concrete. It's like the skeleton of the body. I don't know why I went Italian there, but they do very good steel in Italy, to be all fair.
Yeah, and any lassies out there, if you're going for a Debs and you want a nice fake tan done, just put in a bit of rebar some morning and you'll be sorted.
Those boys,
nice rusty metal tan.
Those boys are fucking. They can be done for appropriate. Is all I'm saying. After a good day working on steel, you've no choice. It just happens. Very well paid.
It just happens.
It's rough work if you know, but you probably won't need pro steel fixtures in for this one. You know, this isn't a bridge you're building. This isn't
fucking One World Trade Center.
No, exactly. This is just fire down a couple of bars, time together, be grand. So any compressible material, and slip membranes they call it. Essentially, if your trenches are falling in a bit, you can use things that are pretty much made out of the same stuff that the politicians, their posters are made out of. Corrie board they call it. They call it slip, membranes and all the rest of it. It's just for keeping the fucking sides of the trenches up so it doesn't pour in on top of your concrete.
Anytime you lose me, Tom, I'm just going to say I agree. So
Understood.
Understood, yeah. Tom. I agree with that. I'm not going to stand in the way of that.
If nobody can see Gerry here, but he's definitely got a pen in his mouth, just tapping his teeth. Going, I see. Yeah, I agree with that. So this is a time, to get in ducts and services. If you're bringing them in, the likes of wastewater and stuff like that. Toilet stuff, and you're laying in at this. It's best to kind of be thinking about. You can go in after the fact, but probably best to go in now, don't you reckon?
Yeah, no. If you don't want to come 6 weeks after this part has happened and said, you know what, I think I might move the toilet to that side of the house. You can do it, literally. But you're going to be coursed uphill and down dale.
Now they would suggest. I mean, look, foot scaffold. It's kind of they say it's necessary to be in all the blue book. It'll say to shutter any steps in the foundations. If you're say you're on a serious hill and you want to dig square back into, you can only imagine the ground becomes quite high at the back, so you may need what they call foot scaffold or what.
Yes. Let's assume that's not happening here.
Okay.
In my mind, this ground is just
let's go with a flat site. Let's go with a flat site, the cheapest site to go on, a flat site. So now this is the time to pour your concrete footings. Normally about a foot deep. They're not called footings because they're a foot deep, because they are the foot of your house, and you'll just tamp them level essentially.
This is the first bit of. Let's pour a sip on the concrete, Tom. The first wee bit of concrete that we've had all day. Look at this actual concrete.
You'd be getting very excited at this point, because now. You'll be running around.
Now you're getting a house.
Yeah. Now you're getting a house now. It's getting real now at this stage. So you'll pour it in all at the one level. More normally you'll put it at one level. There is, of course, differences and reasons why you would put it at different levels, but we're assuming we're on the flat here and you just want it on the flat. That's standard. You poured it and you've put it in all at the one level. Now, up next, now we're getting a house. You're going to bring in bricklayers to build the foundations. So they're going to build using the blockwork that you got in earlier, and they're delighted to see they're not having to tot it up or fucking going, when's their blocks arriving? They're already sitting there, Gerry, and they're going to bring it up. They're going to bring it up to damp-proof course.
Damp-proof course. I've got a great story about damp-proof course. Tom.
Oh yeah, you bet you sold a lot of it.
Like who could fucking make such a statement of a great story about damp-proof course? It's not really about.
I want to hear it.
The damp-proof course is like a heavy plastic toilet roll, and basically it stops the damp from moving up through your block levels and levels. And the short of it is DPC. It's damp-proof course. I read an interview with Danny Dyer one time, and it was like for human traffic, so it's like fucking 20 years ago in Empire magazine.
Danny Dyer
and Danny Dyer. And this is one of these pieces of information that stuck with me for 20 years. That he said that like when he was a young lad, he used to do graffiti around the place. And his street name wasn't Danny Dyer. It was The Perfect Crime. Right? D-A, Perfect Crime. So his graffiti tag was DPC. So Danny Dyer was running around London fucking spray painting DPC on walls all over the place. And I'm like, well, there you go. Danny Dyer, damp-proof course. The Perfect Crime.
Any building material story that ties into, characters from EastEnders, I'm more than happy to hear.
You know what? We must get Danny Dyer to chime in here and see that I fucking imagine that, because it's 20 years ago and I don't remember what I had for breakfast. But there you go.
If somebody, I swear to God, let's make this a challenge for the listeners. If they can find that Danny Dyer, I'm thinking of one or two people who would definitely be able to find that. If you can root that out for myself and Jerry and just tag us in it on our socials,
tag us on a wall, DPC.
PNG, DPC. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Right.
What else you got to do with this house, Tom?
We're bringing up the blockwork up out of the ground, straight off that concrete up to what's known as damp-proof course. So you're talking maybe 2 foot of a nice little shaped footing to come up to take your walls that'll make up the rest of your house. But in between all of that, because now you're poking out of the trenches, you got to backfill those trenches. You can't just leave them fucking wide open. So now you're going to infill the trenches with hardcore using like whacker plate. You know, the ones, they're a little plate. They're like a little lawnmower that doesn't have anything but a plate underneath it. You know.
For anybody unfamiliar with the whacker plate, have you ever seen the video for Satisfaction?
There you go.
There you go. The bit after the drop and it comes back in and your one's there on a whacker plate. Move on, Tom.
Yeah, I completely lost the train of thought because I was thinking about that video right now. Great.
All right, fair enough. So that's a whacker plate.
You're just below what will be your poured floor level at this stage because the block layers have brought it up to just the right. Now you're going to lay over a nice big blanket. Big, heavy-duty plastic blanket. I would suggest always using, they don't always say it because it's not heavy in a lot of parts of the country, but if you're in the southern part, i.e. Cork and places like that, get down a radon barrier. It's the thickest of thick. This stuff is war level thick. You know what I mean? And this is just...
and it's not just a thick blanket. It's also for radon gas to not come up into your house.
Yeah. So it works as both radon barrier to keep the radon down out of the house as well. Now you will be putting in floor insulation at this point as well, just to let you know. So
we want that radon out, Tom. There's going to be no fucking X-Men in this house.
Exactly. I don't know what the shit is supposed to do to you, but apparently it's bad. It's bad. So you want to be blanking it off at this stage. So now there's more, services and stuff. Now you don't have to do it at this point. There are services you can lay. If you're putting in, let's say you're putting in underfloor heating, if it's being installed, you don't have to worry about this. But if you're not, if you're just going, fuck that underfloor heating, I don't need to know about it, then fine. Now put in your water pipes and your gas, i.e. where it's coming up your sinks and whatnot. Get them in now would be the time. On top of that plastic, get them in now. But we'll assume you're going for underfloor heating because it's gotten a lot cheaper these days and almost everybody is putting it in. So, So we've got our nice blanket down. We've got our footing built. Time to bed in and lay damp-proof brick course. Now these bricks will go down on top of the plastic, but the plastic will separate them from the footing and this brick. So you've got maybe a little 3-inch high, little swimming pool all the way around. Which will happen too if rains overnight. You don't get the concrete in and stuff. But this is essentially what you have now. Now we're up out of the ground and we're getting very excited. Now we're into actually what's known as building the structure, Jer.
Do you know what I'm going to tell you, Tom? I'm going to stop you. There's one question that I always I know I've been at this for a long, long time, but every now and then there's always been questions that I've been afraid to ask because I felt
never be afraid to ask. Nope.
No, I said I'd save it to the biggest possible audience I could get before I show off my stupidity. When you lay down the DPC, that heavy plastic toilet roll that I was talking about, and then you build your next course of brick on top of that, what stops that course of brick from just sliding off?
It's a very, very good question because it's something I wondered about. But when you do see the downward pressure that comes on it, and that's why you see it, it's actually got that particular DPC, the toilet roll with them ones you're talking about, the ones that come in,
or even the bigger ones now that I'm sure are with us these days.
You'll the way. Have you looked at them? It's not smooth plastic like a plastic bag.
Yeah, it's like gritted.
It's got little crisscrosses on it.
Yeah.
That's what binds it to the between on the mortar. That's what binds.
But does that happen on the first course of brick that you put on it, or is it that you have to get a couple of courses of brick up on, get a couple of courses of brick up onto it for the weight to be on it. Like the way, like, you know, when you're starting a St. Bridget's Cross, it has no structural integrity until you go round it a couple
I'll
of
tell
times.
you what, you won't be doing it later on that day, if you know what I mean. Give it a few days. Once it goes off, once those bricks and the mortar go off on top of that, there's a plastic membrane that's separating that from the, because you have no choice. Water will travel upwards and fucking downwards. So you've got to break it somewhere, and it's got to break there, because this is all going to be subterranean. You're backfilling all of that soil.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you got to do it. And trust me, it ain't going fucking anywhere, Jer. Because once you give
You're
it a
my man, Tom.
Trust me, it ain't going anywhere. So,
all right.
Now we're up out of the ground, and most of the mucky stuff, you know, you're not up to your knees and shit. You know, it's well and truly finished, more or less. You'll have a bit to do later on down the line, but you're all right. Now we're into fucking building some walls. So the same guys that built you those foundations, maybe that's their only trick in the book. But because some guys just love laying, because if they're getting paid by the block, trust me, if that's all they want to do is lay foundation. So you may be able to use the same fellas. You may not have, you might have gotten other fellas, but it's time to think about getting a couple of old brickies. But before you get them, you will, of course, have poured your concrete floor over that membrane. You know, so it comes up to the height of that brick, just like if you were topping. Imagine your swimming pool has just come right up to the edge, or you're making a cake, basically, you bring it right to the edge of the cake tin.
You're putting custard on the top of a trifle.
Now you're talking maybe. Oh, do you know the way you'd see in some pubs, old school pubs, they use an old scrapey thing to, for some unknown reason, to level off the top of a pint. Yeah. That's what you're doing. You're bringing your concrete to the top of that brick course that's gone all the way around the house, the circumference, and it's on top of what will be your walls as well, your internal walls as well. And you'll let that go off, you'll tamp it in, and then you'll use, a day or two later, you'll use what's known as a power flow, which is essentially like a big floor polisher you'd see hotel uses, but it's got blades, would you believe it, on the bottom. Blades, but they're like big spatula blades, and they put a lovely smooth finish on the floor.
Did you ever see the ones that you sit on? It was like a 2-blade power float, and it was like what do you call those fucking swamp boats in Miami?
Yes.
Did you ever see them going?
Yeah.
There's just a boy there like hovering around on concrete. Now I've only seen it done on like a big shed. You wouldn't have one of these in your house. This is if you were building like a big huge shed.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Well, I've done a couple of industrial builds, all right, and we've done that. Yeah. Now again, you don't have to be doing this. I'm just suggesting that if you have no interest in putting in underfloor heat, right now, all you'll be doing is filling concrete. You're not overly worried about the finish on this, because you will be putting in another screed, what they call in a while, a finished screed, once you put in your underfloor heating. But just something to think about. So now, it's time to get into your bricklayers. Let them fucking at it. Give them the drawings that were in that office that you put in earlier in the week, or earlier in the week. You'd be shifting fairly quickly if it was only a week ago. But as you put earlier in your site prep, show them on the drawings what's happening. You know what I mean?
And if you want anything changed, Tom, now's the fucking time.
Oh, now is the time. Now's the time. I.e., a door shifted somewhere inside. You know, I mean, building regs don't really care, you know, or you're planning internally what the fuck you're going to do. So if you do need a wall moved around, provided it isn't structurally integral to what's happening upstairs, you'll be grand. But everything can always be done after. But Jesus, lads, have a good think about it at this time, because these lads horse into work. They're one of the few trades that don't tend to hang around, these lads. So they're going to haunt. So things like, they're now going to be making, you know, installing templates for future windows and stuff like that, because you may have, you know, just boxing it out for lads and stuff. But again, you don't have to worry too much about this. Once you've made it clear to the bricklayers, you know, where you want your windows, the height you want your windows, you know, where they need to be, they'll sort it out for themselves. But it's just to be aware that this needs to be fucking talked about. And as Gerry said, I can say it if it's got to be changed now. Now, this is one of the priciest things on the site, so only be getting it in now and getting it in and getting it gone, because you're renting this. You are renting this. Your first lift of scaffold will go in. So this will probably go up, you know, 8 to 10 feet. Your first lift will go in.
I mean, like, instead of this time, you could just get like 12-foot builders to do it for you.
Oh, God, why not? Why not?
Get the Monstars in to build your house.
The Monstars. Is that Space Jam 2 or something?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I heard it was a terrible
Monstars in.
I heard it was.
And they'll fucking build your house for you. Or you can fucking pay a man for scaffolding. Jesus, you can get nothing done about this country.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going to obviously continue with, the structural brickwork and block work, including any chimneys. Now you'll see the chimneys coming up if you have a chimney to come up, and they haven't fucking brought it up at this stage. Because I'm not saying you got to second guess lads' work, but don't get surprised when they're going, hi, where are the flue liners? Where are these? Because they got to bring a whole chimney up together. Because a chimney is a box essentially with terracotta pipe inside it, because that can take the heat. Blocks can't really take the heat. You know what I mean? They're going to be instead installing things like lintels and fireplace lintels. And you don't really have to worry about that. But as the project manager, they'll have to be on site. These boys won't fucking bring them with them. You can't turn around and go, did you not have a couple in the boat? No. Be aware that you will. Lintels are essentially things that support over an opening. So when you see a nice big opening, you go, wow, how is that holding up there? There's something really strong hidden in the blockwork above. Yeah. That, it's like a big chunk of concrete, typically, that has some twisted steel through it. Twisted steel and sex appeal. Almost none of it. Almost none of it. I just felt like saying that right now. So,
also, Tom, if you're installing flue liners here for your chimney, you have to double check that they are regulation Santa width.
Yes, very well said. Regulation Santa width.
Bring that one in there.
Wow, look at you making it kid friendly around here. Jesus Christ almighty. Oh my good Jesus Christ. Okay, all right.
I just want a gremlin situation here, all right?
I get it. No feeding after 12. I get it. So the boys will be building in, and you need to tell them where. Because they won't fucking do it unless you tell things like meter boxes for gas and or electricity. You're definitely going to need the electricity. You know, the one where your man comes around and checks your area, missus, and just coming around to check that's got to be built into the wall.
If I could stop you there, Tom, this is where you do put in your meter boxes for gas and electricity, if you intend to pay for it. See, like by law, and I haven't looked into this, but by law, if you don't put in a meter box, nobody can charge you for electricity or gas. So this is a decision you're making, right?
It is a decision you're making. But it's almost
tell them like Tom and Gerry said you.
It's almost like back when I talked about bringing the water in off the water main at the road.
You've got options.
Again, I'm just making the assumption that you decided to go down the planning route and all the rest of it. You might just decide, fuck it. You mightn't have even bought the field. This
could be a rogue house.
This could be a rogue house, which I can tell you, I can think of 3 of them not within 5 miles of me right here, where lads just fucking built a house and used flexes, basically coming off their milking parlour up the field.
Yeah.
And did anybody say it? No, they didn't.
All right. Let's assume that we are going to do this the fucking right way, Tom.
Let's assume it, right? So now you can bring in, because you have these boxes, the thing built in, you will need an electrician at this stage, because your next trades coming on at site are going to need power. You're going to need power. It's probably heading towards it's Ireland. DSB will carry out the work, at the boundary as well. You got to get them on board. It's going to cost you a few pounds. This is the first big chunk of money that's going to go out in one ball. They'll just stand there. And trust me, if they come at 12 o'clock on a Friday, you ain't getting the full job done. I can promise you that. They're coming to you at 12 o'clock. They've probably got 2 jobs done already that day. They're wrapping up at 2 o'clock. And there's a lunch break to be had as well. Just saying.
Keep an eye out for that.
Look, all I'm saying is keep a couple of crisp 50s in your arse pocket, because they will be needed. They will be needed when it comes to situations like this. These boys ain't contractors. They're government workers, so it does no harm to have a couple of crisp ones. I'm not saying they're Teamsters. I'm just saying it doesn't hurt to just peel off a few 50s and just go, any chance you'll get that sorted before you head home today, lads. These are all points. These are all, don't get shocked and go, I can't believe that. These are just how it is.
This is not the fucking time for pearls to be clutched, everybody.
Exactly. Put down your handbag. Exactly. So now you're up. You want your second lift of scaffold. Don't have it all on site, because they'll fucking rent all of it to you all at the same time. Now you bring them in. Go, guys, take me up another lift, please. Your rent will go up, obviously, because you've doubled the amount. But don't have them all landed all there day one. Do you get me?
Yeah, and also this, where we say second lift of scaffolding here, this could be your first lift of scaffolding if you have the Monstars in.
Yeah, okay. Now the Monstars need to get up, a
wee bit higher.
About 16 foot. Yeah, exactly. You might want to be thinking about, if you're putting in floor beams, you know, if it's a mass concrete floors you're putting in upstairs, this is the time to start thinking about a crane. So a lot of people are going for that nowadays, where they're actually putting in concrete floors, which work absolutely fine. Your block work will be a bit on the fatter side. It has to take a lot more fucking weight, but you ain't going to hear a row in the sitting room while you're upstairs trying to, they're great for that. But more often than not, let's go with the fact that you got a carpenter on board and they're putting in 9x2s or 9x3s if you're thinking about putting a pool table upstairs.
This is getting exciting, Tom. We've got electricians, plumbers, and carpenters and block layers on the job.
I'll tell you now,
a lot of shit going on here.
There is a buzz right now. There'll be a buzz right now, because now at this stage you're up to your first floor is built. You can actually walk between in and out of your rooms downstairs. You can start
pretend to be in your house.
Now, I would also suggest maybe get a can of spray paint, and start marking in where you want sockets. And by fuck, do not skimp on sockets. Do not skimp on them. You won't be. Put
them everywhere.
Put them fucking everywhere.
100% right, Tom.
Lord Jesus Christ, you'll be bullying if you don't. The last thing you want is fucking triple adapters sticking out because you want the toaster and the fucking kettle, and maybe so, why would you do it yourself? Spray
sockets everywhere. Sock it to me, Tom.
Exactly. Lads won't be annoyed. They won't be annoyed. They'll be delighted that you made life simple and going, fine, that's exactly where they want their sockets. And write it beside it. Don't just not assuming that anybody's stupid, but just know that they don't know what's going on inside your head. Yeah. So got the house up to first floor. Up to first floor, ground floor is built. So, but it's not time to pat yourself on the back just yet. Let's horse into it and get her on up. Come on, pride now. Let's finish her out.
Let's do it, Tom.
Let's print it. So let's get her up to what the next move is, getting her up to wall plate, which again is a mortgage payment normally. But again, I don't want to talk about. I'm assuming you have a ball of money left to you by an aunt who made it big in America. You have a ball of money. You're building this thing outright out of your arse pocket, but you're getting it up to wall plate. And the wall plate is exactly what it sounds like. Am I right, Jer? It's. I don't know what else you'd call it. It's the
no. If you're thinking about it being a decorative plate that you bought out of the back of the Sunday World commemorating the death of Princess Diana or something like that, it's in your fucking nan's house or something. It's not that. It's not that.
Oh Jesus Christ! I'm so entrenched in this shit. That's where, and wow. I have no imagination.
A wall plate. I gotta tell you, Tom, a wall plate is nothing like it sounds like. A wall plate. No, I mean, for this purpose, a wall plate is like a big lump of timber.
Yeah, exactly. It's normally like a 5x3 or a fucking weird 6x4. It's a weird one, depending on the thickness of your wall. Essentially, your wall would be gotten up to the top, the finished height, the top above your upstairs windows, finished height, capped off with another block. But you can't build timber fucking roof off of. So you got to fucking nail down. Basically, you got to nail down a collar all the way around of this timber that's known as wall plate. But it's like a poignant part in a play. It's like the second act. You know what I mean? It's a turning point where you're like, we have reached wall plate. And so basically you can build roof timbers off it.
Gotcha. Let's do it.
So up to wall plate. So of course we're going to horse on with the structure. The build block layers are still on site, still horsing on the way up. Third,
and it's just going up and up.
Insist on that music playing continuously as lads.
Yeah. Builders love it. It's the builder's anthem.
So now you want ordering your third, and then maybe a couple of days later, your fourth lift. They call them lifts because they lift them up, but they're 8 foot by 4 foot by 8 foot fucking cubes, essentially. And that's a lift. So you want to go up again. That's more
scaffolding, yeah.
More scaffolding.
Yeah. Because you fucking say you scrimp money, you wouldn't pay for the fucking Monstars, you got the fucking Lollipop Guild in to build your fucking house.
Got the doozers in for fucking... I remember a bunch of by the way, to let you know, this is just to give you a background on block layers will be rough. They will be rough characters, but normally good crack. Plasters, similar. Normally thoughtful people, but because they are very proud in their finished product and whatnot.
Yes.
Carpenters can be wild, but normally, again, pride in their... But scaffolders are a different breed of humanity. They're not even a different breed of... They are angry, wiry. They're like guys who didn't make it in the horse riding world, but are still strong as fucking the Mountain from Game of Thrones, but look more like Peter Dinklage, if you know what I mean. Like they're just these hard, and may or may not, I'm not saying they all do, but I've met a lot who are partial to some amphetamines. I'll tell you a story, Ger. I worked on a site briefly in Dublin before, and I landed on, it was a Friday, I was heading back down home later on that day, so I get in early. I get in at 6:30. Site's locked, it's fine. I open up the site. As I head in, you should hear a couple of people rustling around with diggers and stuff like that, putting grease and diggers and stuff, and just getting their shit together and kicking off for 7:00. Not a sinner, 7:30. The whole thing. I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? Outside the gate. I didn't realize that the scavengers had pulled their truck across the gate. They blocked the entire site until all the other trades on site paid them their coke bill. They hadn't. I'm not painting everybody with the one brush. I'm just saying they tend to be a different and a hardier breed of human. They just come in, they want to get that scaffold up, get the fuck off, just power through. Some of the toughest.
Settle your bag or you're not getting in.
Yeah, literally. Settle it. You're not getting back on this job unless you settle it. And they did. People found the money, Joe. People found.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Let's assume that we've settled our coke bill with these particular scaffolders, Tom.
Yeah, they're good. They're tough. They're good. They got it up. So now you're going to be calling the carpenters, and you're going to order them the timbers they want in for trusses. Now trusses, they're the angle bit of your roof.
Gotcha.
That's the I don't know, the slopey bit of your pyramid. Do you know, of your Toblerone? They're the slopey bit of the Toblerone.
It's not a rafter, but you can call it a rafter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Honestly, Tom, I'm going to tell you now, if it's a timber and it's in my attic, it's a fucking rafter.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. Listen, we can get into purlins and fucking all sorts, but we're not. No, we're not. Because again, you're not building it. I'm just saying you're project managing it. So in all fairness, you'll have met all these people beforehand, and your architect or, your carpenter will be able to count up what you need a month beforehand. If you ask them to come to site and get a price for the job, they'll say you're going to need 42, 6x3s or whatever at this stage, and they'll have told you what to have on site for them. So they're going to build up as you would in fucking Meccano, Jerry. You wouldn't start in the middle and hope. You'd start at the two ends of your Toblerone, and you'd build those first, those two templates first, because they're going to sit onto your wall plate and then meet each other in middle, as they normally would, as they're wont to do. Get the two of those right, they go back down onto the ground, and those act as templates. They're going to fucking cut off a rake of them and let them at it. Let them at it. Maybe a couple of additional lifts of scaffolding will be needed, depending on how high up your chimneys. I know. Tiny builders. I'm sorry we didn't get them on stars in. Jesus Christ. Now, here's the thing you'll often find trading back and forth. In the UK, you'll often find only the plumbers will go at any form of lead. It's funny, but here in Southern Ireland, the roofers tend to handle. Yeah, it varies. You'll get guys that aren't plumbers, but they technically they're qualified as plumbers because they're really good at soldering pipes but they purely work as lead men, and they do really good lead stuff. But the lead flashing basically has to happen to go down into any kind of trays and stuff. Just know, I'm not going to teach you what they are. Just know that they're needed. Essentially, where any blockwork meets slate, you can't just have them banging up against each other and pour a load of fucking silicone into it and hope that the water doesn't.
Very poetic, Tom. Where block meets slate.
Oh, yeah, isn't it? I mean, essentially, they're the same product, just in two different states. But look, I'm getting Shakespearean here, Jer. Getting Shakespearean.
It's oil and dinosaurs right there. We're flashing our skirts at everybody.
Exactly. So you're flashing skirts, like the likes of vent pipes and stuff like that for toilets, because every toilet needs an actual vent pipe, because it'll get stink, it'll back up and come into the house. So things like that will be coming up through. So when you're seeing things like fucking pipes sticking up, you go, what? Where? Know that you will be buying some 4-inch weaving. Know that. Yes. You'll be buying some 4-inch weaving. And this is the final bit. This is where you say goodbye and probably buy a beer on a Friday for the bricklayers. This is them, basically they're topping out and they're finishing the last bit of chimney pot. You may want a nice corbelled design around the edge. The boys can do a very basic one for you, but I would suggest, if you're going doing it, finish off with a nice, you'd go for a nice corbelled finish around the top of your chimney, would you, Jer?
Oh, naturally.
Oh, no. And what about the last pot? Would you go Fred Dibnah style and do a fucking lovely, nice last pot?
I'd like one of those H pots.
Would you?
Yeah.
Other than, are you contemporary?
No, it was just like pure ostentatiousness. I want a H pot.
Exactly. Just so the crows can sit on it, but not really block it. I get you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
But
I like it.
I don't know. You know what? I'll tell you what, Tom. At the time, I'll know.
Exactly. You can play this by ear, but have your fucking ear played before the boys are looking for it. You know what I mean? Because they will charge you for standing around picking their hole. I'll know that. They will charge you for that. They will charge you.
I got to tell you, Tom. Now that we've got all the block work done, and now that we've got the timber up on the roof, and now that we've got like the odd WAVN pipe sticking up here or there, this is the perfect place to run out of money and leave the house looking like this for 6 or 8 years.
Yes.
For anybody to drive by it, go like, "How are we going to finish that fucking house?"
Now, and you'll see it around the country. This is exactly the point where people have fucking run out of money.
This is exactly. And there'll be maybe one run of scaffold around it, perhaps. This is where you just pull up. This is where you get, marital problems with the missus and get a divorce, and the house just doesn't go any further, and you emigrate to somewhere, and that house fucking sits there for 20 years.
And the country is riddled with them. Exactly that. And like, this is a perfect example. What Gerry just said is just as important as all the facts I'm actually giving you here. Know that you better have more money left over after this, because you've got a fair bit more to fucking spend, I can tell you. But it's normally the timber that catches people, Ger. They've blown their wad because they're still eating out every night of the week, and they're going, there's a ball of it there, lads. There's a fucking ball of it there, because you'll get your.
I'm going to get coffees for the builders on my way to them.
Yeah, know this. You're only about a third of the way there, money wise.
Yeah,
trust me. There's a lot more to be dug out of your pocket. So be prudent, but at the same time, they'll have done you a favor. Look after the lads. Give them a couple of beers. Not saying you don't. A couple Aldi ones will do absolutely fine on a Friday. Just saying. So
as the wall plate said to the carpenter, trust me.
I'm laughing for all the fucking wrong reasons at that.
I
fucking love that.
Every bit of that works. Every bit of that works.
That's not a hint of fat on that. That's perfect.
Tell anyone that joke.
I'm actually going to go in and tell ourselves now in a minute. Now we are fucking. This is what makes a house, right? This is what makes a house look a house. Gerry said this is where you can fall. You're getting your pants pulled down here now if you're not careful. Still have plenty of money to go here at this point, or don't be at it at all. Do you know what I mean? Don't be buying. When I said buy a van, buy €1,000 van. Don't be getting yourself no Ford Ranger because you want to be fucking big King Dick. Heaps of shit will do you all the way up until now. Pure heaps of shit will get you by all the way now. Busted fucking everything will do you up until now. You know what I mean? You would have been fine. You don't need nothing flash. You ain't showing off at this stage. So we got to put a hat on her, Ger. We made no bones about it. We definitely are doing it. Now there's a bunch of, modernistic, contemporary industrial style, and you may be looking for steel fixers at this point rather than actual carpenters. If you're putting in, one of those for Kevin McLeod looking with zinc and all. No, here at D&G and Sons, we're fans of the old school timber and slate pitched roof. Simple as that. My God, that's what you're going to get. So
that's what I was reared under, Tom.
Exactly. You feel comfortable under that exact thing. So let's get building the roof. No, carpenters are going to start slinging roof trusses, and trusses are going to be fixed to the wall plate, as we talked all about.
That's a callback to my excellent joke there.
I know. I'm delighted. So valleys. Valleys will happen. This isn't, a region in Wales. These are actual valleys. You'll see them. You'll see them where parts of roofs, because we're assuming that we do have the big Toblerone. We may have a couple of little dormer windows poking out, and where those dormer windows poke out, just at the point where they poked out to the main one, that's called a valley there. It's like your little inside your elbow. Do you know what I mean? Inside your elbow being a valley where your forearm meets your base hip.
Yes.
That's a valley. Right,
if you remember your technical graphics, Tom, someone along the lines here needed to have worked out their dihedral angles for this one.
Now, exactly. Well, listen to this.
I was listening.
Listen to this. So, like I said, if you do have lay boards, they're normally like 1 inch thick or even less, you know what I mean? And they'll be laid down at this, normally 9 inches wide, and they'll be laid because they will form. They'll form the valley that you'll cover over with lead afterwards. But don't worry too much about it. Just know that you will be buying these things. So this is where the dormers now will be built. They'll be built sticking out of it. So it's just as well to get them built now rather than going, fuck it, I'd love a couple of dormers there. Now, the world of them are on the backs of houses here in Ireland because the world of people built, converted attics / dormer bungalows under the pretense that they were just building bungalows, but they're 2-story fucking houses. They just have a bunch of dormers on the back.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear a dormer in the east, Gandalf.
Oh my fuck! Well, I am really glad you managed to crowbar in a Lord of the Rings.
I got more to go, Tom.
So if we're on the roof, Ger, where are we makeup wise here now?
This would be your eyebrows, surely.
Okay, yeah,
it's the highest part of your face, right? And do you know what is the house equivalent of eyebrows, Tom? Fascia and soffit.
Now, are we doing the hair? Are we doing the hair right now? We're getting our hair done. We're getting our hair did.
We'll see.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, look, I mean, at this point, you will be sticking on fascia and soffit. What fascia and soffit essentially are, everybody knows what fascia and soffit are, is the little box section that basically finishes off the end of your roof. You'll see the gutters hanging on it, and then turns it back. It heads back into the wall to make a nice, because you couldn't leave that wide open. If you look up now, some old Georgian places you'll see them, they do leave it slight and they like to put a nice little trim on the end of the trusses to make it look snazzy. We're not fucking doing that. Or nice box section back into the wall, clean at this point. So of course it will be, it will be a carpenter that'll do that for you, and there will be ventilation grills or strips, which are pre-made plastic ones, which again, you'll probably have to have bought yourself, or unless you're bringing in a fascia and guttering crowd who are going to do it probably in PVC, they'll do it for you. But again, if you're getting it done in nice timber, you'll have to be heading off and getting them too. Also, because this
is probably the first nice thing you bought for the house.
Yeah.
This is the first cosmetic consideration you've had to have for the house, other than what fucking brick you're building with it, I suppose.
No, well, it's a very valid point. You might be we're going to go with standard plaster on the outside anyway, Jer. I mean, at this stage, you may have got a nice brick on the outside. Let's say that that's a really good point. That's your
this is consumer facing here. Yeah.
Let's say you went with a hardwood like a Roca or something like that. Especially if you may have to go with, I don't know, some hard shit if you're near the sea. But you've gone for a nice touch, nice little fascia and soffit for yourself. Let's leave off the fact that you might think about putting PVC up there. Let's not do that. But because it's wide open and you're looking at the skeletons of a stegosaurus here now, because it's roof trusses piling in over and top of each other, meeting each other in the middle, the ribs basically at the top. Now is the time to get in before you finish it off totally. Now is the time to put in any roof tanks. Water tanks.
This would be what I'd fucking do. This would be what I'd do, Tom. I would fucking, I would have the whole thing done, and then someone come with this 80-gallon tank saying, "How are you going to get that up there?" And I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Shove it through a hole.
Can we just put it on the ground floor and pump it? Fuck it. This is the time to put in a tank into what will be your attic, essentially. Get it in now. I know you'll be thinking, fuck it. But as Jared just alluded to, fuck it won't do. This is the timing. This is a very, very specific thing. Even though it'll sit there idle for a long time, is a very specific thing that needs to go in at this stage. So now roofers, the boys, possibly the guys who are doing the trusses, but I would say most likely the guys who are going to be doing your slate will do felt and batten. You'll see that. They lay a nice big fucking lovely blanket with writing on it, which is breathable and waterproof on one side and breathable through the other. They'll lay it over your lovely trusses, even though you probably want to show them off to the world for a while more, given how much you have fucking spent on the price of timber these days. But you gotta cover these. You gotta cover them all the way around. To fix them into position, you'll see lads using a staple hammer, just tapping all the way around. Then across that, you'll see 2 by 1 inch battens laid horizontal to your trusses, all the way across, making a lovely effect. It's so you can hang your slates on it, essentially. Slates or tiles, whatever you've gone for. You can hang them. I do
like this part of the process.
Yeah, now you see, this is really setting it off now. So, of course, all your valley tiles and everything will be, don't worry too much about it, but depending on whatever you're going to go for, I would always go with lead myself, but fiberglass has become very popular of late. I find fiberglass can actually fucking crack and stuff under, severe weather conditions. So, I'm just saying, even lead ain't what lead was when you started in the hardware business. It's gone wake. It's gone wake.
Extreme weather conditions weren't what they used to be either, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. They fucking ain't. So again, like the roofer, things like flashings and skirtings, you'll hear that being mentioned. This is pure. I'm just saying them out loud right now, Jer, for the people, so they don't go, fucking what?
Yeah, and this is the skirting around the bottom of your walls.
Don't worry too much about it. It's just so that you can hear it, But you would want to be thinking, now you could do this yourself in all fairness, if it was a Sunday and nobody, some Sunday there's no mass on, as they say. You'll be painting or staining your soffits and fascias, you know what I mean? And barges, they call them, which is, don't worry about what a barge is. It's kind of the end of the roof. But you'd want to be thinking about doing it now. You could fucking do it yourself if you took your time, because you don't want to be just bothering the decorator at this minute. But if you're not getting your fucking hands dirty and you're standing back with the Visi vest on going, I'm getting who I'm getting because I've plenty of money, now give the painter and decorator a ring, tell them to come in and do your fascia and soffits, because we're pulling down that fucking scaffolding, Ger.
We're getting rid of it. Fucking Munsters are wrapping up and fucking off home. But before we go on, Tom, there's one thing I want to point out here. There's like, if I could give anybody one tip here now to be a pain in the hole to builders and roofers and whatnot, you see all that lead that they're putting up around the chimneys and all that kind of crack, Tom?
Yeah.
You want to treat that with a stuff called patination oil.
You're 100% right, yeah.
Which is like, lead is a thing, right? You put it up and that's all very well and good. But if you don't treat it with this oil, and it's like pour it onto a cloth and rub it onto it and up it goes. If you don't do that, and I'm sure people have seen this every now and then in houses out in the country, the lead will react with rain and it will cause this white, scoury runoff.
It's called effervescence, Ger.
The effervescence will come off your lead and dribble down your roof, and it will look like Rodan took a big shit on your roof.
Yes.
It looks like a massive bird shit on your roof. It's the same color and texture and consistency of like a friggin' huge bird shit, Tom.
You're so well done I completely had left patination oil out of it. And it comes in a small little tin that you'd see, fucking any sort of rubbing oil for timber. You'd see
costs nothing.
Nothing. But an old rag and a stick, even if you've forgotten, you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? It's worth doing as the scaffolding is coming down. Just get it fucking on. Or, get it on. Or again, if you ain't dirty in your hands, ask the painter decorator when he's doing the fascia soffit. Here's an old fucking a brush head. Would you fucking treat that for me? Rub it on. It gives it a lovely fucking grey finish anyway, and it stays with it for ages. A lovely, lovely finish. Well said, Ger. Well pointed out.
Thank you, Tom.
So let's get on.
Notice that you, the builder, had just coasted past it.
Yeah. Jesus.
What else are you leaving out, Tom?
I know. I've left. I tell you what, during this list, I've left out. I didn't want to be here till fucking for the next 3 weeks. This would be an entire series by itself.
Yeah.
We could have done a series by itself. So, this is the last couple of items before we drop the scaffold. A major money drain, i.e. the scaffold, because he'll want his scaffold payment for every fucking week, I guarantee you. So the likes of the guttering and stuff like that, it may be, like the plumbers will have to do it, whether it's guttering for vent pipes and stuff like that, or it's going to be coming down. You might get lucky. Somebody else, you might get one of the boys to do it for you. A roofer might do it for you, but more likely the plumbers will have to bring down the shit pipes, basically. Am I right, Ger?
Shit's getting real, Tom.
Now, you'll have made a phone call and a decision. This would have long been done. Your window suppliers, they're going to fit the external parts of the joinery. You know what I mean?
You've been framed.
Yeah. So essentially any stuff that can't be done from inside upstairs, so they'll probably put in the frame of it now. Plasters then they'll be rendering the outside, doing they'll do the opes around the windows and stuff like that. Rest of the down pipes will all be fucking put in. Everything that it can be done now quickly, because the boys are coming at 2:00 and you're throwing a rake in at this. So like gullies, upstands, they call them, the pipes that would come down off your gutters, taking rainwater and stuff. Any external decoration, get it fucking painted, get it on the wall, and whatever you got to do, pebble dash it, whatever you're doing, get it on, because now all of a sudden down comes the scaffold, and them fellas will have a house down in an hour and a half. They will, and the noise, they'll just fuck it off. Like, I mean, the racket, how the death rate isn't higher, not from lads falling off stuff, but them fucking scaffold from a height. I've
just pegging stuff down,
pegging it down. And they never do. They never seem to. Or if they do, it's like Sparta. The first few just die from it. And the ones we see are the ones that survived and have learned to be in tune with each other, right? Maybe. I don't know. Now you're going to start hearing terms like first fix. Now, you would have heard it a couple of times, and a couple of times, and you go, hey, just nod along. It's fine. First fix will be banded about a fair bit at this point. Scaffold gone. House is starting to look like a house now. You can be cleaning up bits and pieces yourself. Like broken out blocks around the place, be picking them up. Don't be fucking leaving around. Plus, don't fuck them away either, because you'll need to backfill spots with them. They make great filling for underneath fucking footpaths and stuff. But like I said, you'll hear it's essentially what first fix is. It's the unseen bit that makes up the nice bit. You know what I mean?
Here's where you can make a bollocks to yourself. You hear people saying the first fix, and you say to yourself, "Oh yeah, a first fix. I must get one of those."
Oh my God, yeah. Oh gee,
I could use a couple of first fixes somewhere around here. Yeah, I'd say yeah. If someone says that to you, you know they haven't listened to this podcast.
You know you can, and you're a builder. You know you can throw the saddle on because you can send somebody up the hardware looking for a first fix. First fix is it's a term. It's a term. It's not an actual thing. It's a term bandied about for typically when it comes to electrical, plumbing, and carpentry. There's no first fix of block work. You fucking block work. It's just block work first. Begin to end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you were doing a first fix of a Christmas cake, it would be the cake bit.
Yeah, before you throw on second fix, i.e. the lovely icing on the outside.
Icing and shit,
Yeah, exactly. And that's a perfect analogy. We don't have to go back into the makeup bit. But this is where we're building in our contours, guys. You know what I mean? This is really where we're bringing the cheekbones forward. But it's not the finished product. You know what I mean? Jesus. So, like I said...
first fix me, baby.
It pertains. Did you hear me? Jesus,
yeah,
Mary and Joe. So, like I said, electrical, plumbing, and carpentry.
I made a note of that, Tom, so I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I wrote that down.
It's time for first fix. So carpenters, of course, will commence first fix by fitting door frames, building any stud work, i.e. normally upstairs, the stud work will happen. If you haven't gone for a concrete floor where you can build concrete blocks again upstairs, if you've gone for the standard timber floor where you can hear Mammy and Daddy having a row downstairs, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper and faster to get on. This is where stud, and this isn't just a bunch of really good looking young blokes standing together. This is actually timber framed upstairs, walls and whatnot, boxing around things like vent pipes that are coming down inside. You don't want to fucking see them passing down inside your bedroom. You want them boxed off nicely. Things like fixing window boards, this kind of thing.
And do you know what I like about this whole phase, Tom, is we're inside the house now.
Yes.
So there's no more of this bullshit of like, oh, I can't work because it's raining.
This is, you definitely want this to be happening maybe fucking late September at the latest. You know what I mean? You want to be in by autumn. You want to be inside by autumn. Because now there's no more stoppages, as Gerry said. No more stoppages. Now there's no more.
You're in.
You're in.
Whatever you want.
You got a roof on, got windows. You're hot to trot. So things like plastic. You'll hear now noggins will be mentioned a lot at this stage, and you may giggle a small bit because it's a fun word to say. Noggins. They're just essentially bits of frame. They're little bits of frame that go horizontal to the vertical sticks that go up the way. These are the sticks that go across the way. It's so lads can tack things too in the way of normally plasterboards wrapping around, but you'll hear it a lot. So don't start giggling like a schoolgirl. You know what I mean?
Well, if you didn't laugh at flashing skirts, then you'd be all right here.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned heading off to the shop to get a first fix. Yeah. Now, also, don't let them forget, because they may not ask you. They'll plow on if you haven't. If you, it's all on you. You see, you are the builder here. You are the buck stops at you. This is the time to fix in your attic trap. Just like you go, it's a bit early, is it? It's a bit early. No, put in that door frame / they'll call it an attic trap, but it's the door frame for your styra as they will go up. McBride, you love a good attic trap.
Yeah, I do. I don't have a styra. I have just an old school attic trap that you have to do like tricep dips to get up into it.
Yeah.
You have to hoosh yourself up into a tippy toe on a ladder. I wouldn't have it any other way, Tom. No. It's an attic trap. I've never heard it referred to as an attic trap. We always called it a portal down our way. Portal.
Get you a portal, like it's the fucking Richard Dean Anderson yourself are going to head off into...
Yeah, like, they've opened the fucking box in Hellraiser. You're going up to the attic to get the Christmas tree.
Now, if you have gone, and I would suggest why not? Because Ireland can be cold enough at the best of times. I'm not pushing it because I ain't selling it, but at the same time, I would have gone for underfloor heating. So I gave you the alternative, but this is the point now where you can go and lay your underfloor heating and membrane downstairs. So you'll be putting in insulation. This is the ground floor. It's been a bit rough and a bit dusty up until now, but now you're getting into finishing off your inside downstairs. Do you know what I mean? Sitting room floor going to look lovely. So you'll be putting in, now we'll get down, put down another membrane, no harm, just to keep another section between the insulation and the actual concrete. So you will be taping off all these joints and stuff like that. So that tape is quite expensive. Just know that that's coming. Am I right, Jared?
They know you need it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. They know you need it. So now you'll get on your UFH, which is essentially, you'll see it on all these programs, looped back and forth.
I fucking, do you know what? Nothing gives me more joy than seeing people see underfloor heating for the first time when they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what is it? Is it like a big like metal sheet underneath the thing? Is it like wires? It's like, oh, it's just fucking hot water running through a pipe looped around the place.
And there's any amount of ways you can get this fed. You can actually, obviously through a back boiler. You can get this, heated from an actual boiler. My sister.
Sorry, Tom, you led through a back boiler. It's 1975.
They're making a comeback, Jared. They're making a comeback.
Back boilers are making a comeback.
Of course they are.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, because Jared, everybody realized that the whole. This is a big conspiracy theory for you, but I'm telling you, it's 100% right. The oil companies they put them on blast and went, nah, back boilers. So why would you lose half your heat up the fucking chimney anyway, Jer, these days? Now, okay, some of the fucking the stoves that they have are pretty good and pretty efficient. Half your heat's gone up the chimney. Why not transfer? People go, oh no, the room is freezing. Yeah, but the entire house is based off the back of the fucking fire coming up. They're actually really, really efficient nowadays. So they are making a comeback.
I gotta tell you, Tom, I laughed at it because I hadn't heard of anybody putting in back boilers. I have a soft spot for a back boiler. We've got back boiler in the house. Don't get me wrong. I see the merit of a back boiler. It's not like you'd have a fire in your house and you'd be losing your heat to the back boiler and like you'd be freezing cold in the room. No, you still have an 18-inch gaping fucking open fire blasting your tiny ass sitting room out of it. You're not gonna freeze to death. Okay, sorry. You know what? That gives me joy. Look at that. That gives me joy.
Because I hate waste. As you hate waste, and this is a way to do it. My sister did.
I'm still waiting to hear where you're going with those offcuts of blocks that you had 3 paragraphs back.
Oh, listen, never. What's your phrase? Fucking never throw anything away. NTA.
Throw nothing away, Tom.
Throw nothing away. Yeah. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you'd be always some yoke to be propped up, or even just filling for the fucking footpath outside, right? Guarantee you'll find a fucking good holla somewhere for them that'll be badly wanted. Don't
throw nothing away.
A sister of mine is they use subsoil fucking heat, so it's all the time 17, 18 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another one.
Another one. Anyway, we're not getting into that. Assuming
all right,
you can make your own decision how you went about this, but this will be the time when it goes in and whatnot. So you'll be fixing now the plumbing for the likes. First fix plumbing will go in for things like rads, things like taps, things like now is the time to get it all clipped in, lovely and neat. The likes of the 4-inch pipework, they'll link up to the manifolds. They're called manifolds, basically the bends that came out of when early doors, you were building those foundations and the footings, early doors, when you're putting them in. Now's the time to start thinking about putting another bit on them and bringing them up out of it. You see this all the time nowadays. You can pump in. Basically, it's a real watery type of concrete chair. Pouring it in. And just it'll be fucking lovely. Just pour in, you level it off.
Oh, I know the stuff you're on about there.
Self-leveling.
Self-leveling. Yeah.
Needs almost nothing. You can get one nowadays that has tiny little bits of wire through it, but typically it's only used for, I'd say nowadays, Jesus, we laid it 12 years ago for commercial use, but it's its own. It's its own fucking, it's got actual steel through it.
Yeah. I worked in a place that they put in a massive warehouse and they put in a floor and they pumped screed into it, but it had like 2-inch slivers of wire into it. It looked like fucking bobby pins for your hair kind of thing.
Yeah. Amazing for strength. Amazing. Now, this is a big day. Now, know this also. If your father ever worked in construction or knows anything or anywhere worked in any form of blue-collar work, concrete days make middle-aged men very, very excitable. Like hot under the collar, frantic. They won't be able to sleep the night before. Whatever's in concrete, the fumes that comes off concrete. It is a chemical reaction when it goes off. Older blokes go fucking mad when it comes to concrete.
Catnip for our lads.
Yeah, that's exactly fucking catnip for our lads. That's exactly it. They'll go fucking bananas for it, right? So just don't be surprised if your own owl lad is wrecking your biscuit on the day. They just fucking love concrete. They just, I won't lie to her. I'm partial to a bit of it myself.
Don't hate it myself, Tom.
Yeah. Your electrician now will be coming in and fitting in things like where you sprayed on the wall, where you marked where you wanted all your carcasses. They call it carcasses for wiring and stuff. You'll be chasing in stuff on walls and stuff. Again, you'll hear chasing. It ain't running after things. It's using a little fucking angle grinder with 2 blades on it that'll cut out, a nice little slot out of the wall. You'd often see him go, how the fuck did somebody chisel that out so neat? It's because he actually had a saw that did it. Don't think it's that special. He'll use what's called conduit. That'll be another thing. Conduit is exactly what it sounds like. It helps get from one point to another, but nice and clean. They put the wires up through it. Just know that he's going to be putting in his first fix at this stage. So make sure you have all things like back plates on site, all these things. Just back plates are exactly what they sound like.
Steel boxes.
Little steel boxes that will take your sockets. Have all your sockets marked out, because also electricians will walk onto site in the same way. If you imagine a consultant in a private hospital walks in, that's what electricians think of themselves. They'll walk in. I knew an electrician who used to wear like board shorts and flip-flops.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not sure. And he would literally get out of like a brand new fucking Mercedes, and just get out, and he'd have just a sweet toolbox in the back, and he just whistling to himself. He'd rock in about 9:30. He'd be done by 3, back into the job again, So know that they may come with a bit of a fucking head in them.
Fucking hot shit.
They are the top guns when it comes to, they won't sweep up a thing. They will not do anything dirty. They won't do anything dirty. It's just, it is what it is, folks.
It's what it is.
So don't have any questions waiting. Don't have them, because they, like I said, they will charge you for picking their hole. So make sure and have everything marked. So external wiring, like lights beside the door and stuff like that, lights over back doors, security lights, have all that fucking marked and tell them exactly where you want them to drill holes. You know what I mean? Because it's a fucking dose. It's a dose getting back on otherwise. So now all fresh, lovely work's been going on in the actual building. We've kind of neglected, the busted blocks outside. The timing wasn't right to do it because lads are in and out. It's now time to head outdoors. Head outdoors. It's tipping nicely. You've got them rolling inside. You've got the Sparks, carpenter, plumber, everybody going inside.
Yeah, you all amuse yourselves there. I'm going to go do a bit of work.
Exactly. This is hardyman stuff. This is where you're going to be doing this in the piss and rain. You can't whinge. You just can't whinge. This is rough work. Now, we're heading out to do some external work outside. So drains and whatnot, the ones that you'll see, those nice little gullies in your footpath, they got to be laid now. They don't run to nowhere. They run somewhere. They got to be laid and laid well. You'll see them running over the top of ground or, in trenches and stuff like that. They got to be put into position right now to take your gullies, your downpipes coming from your fucking whatchamacallits. Also, all your drains taking your number 1s and number 2s from those pipes. They laid area. So things like, you're going to have to build in manholes. And this is where you're going to need things like all those broken blocks for propping up the pipe to get it the right fall in the right direction. Nice. You're going to be building
some nose to tail building right there, Tom.
Listen, we don't waste the ears, we use every bit of this bastard, the skin and everything. And also you're going to be building little manholes, and you're going to need little manholes so that you can purposely look in and make sure if you've got it blocked, you had a party that weekend, somebody fucking put a few things down they shouldn't have put down. I'm just saying. You're going to need some manholes. And again, you're going to need your broken blocks to make, because nobody gives a fuck what they look like under the ground, these manholes.
Now you're talking.
Nobody gives a fuck. Once they're buttered off nicely with mortar inside, they'll look their fucking finest. That's when you'll be using all your broken blocks, Jer. Do you know what I mean? So, throw nothing away, as Jerry would say. Rodding eyes, you'll hear lads calling these. Fucking mind that. It's for rodding if it does, things get blocked up and whatnot. You got to have more on the line nowadays than you used to have. More, the fucking merrier, because the last thing you need is spending a Sunday morning after somebody's flushed down fuck knows what, Tina Turner wig, because you have a fucking Halloween party down the toilet and you have to walk. You got to get 50 meters of rodding going on.
Yeah.
You don't want
Not suboptimal, Tom.
Suboptimal is absolutely right. All done. You're going to backfill those trenches, clean it off nicely. Nice. No, sweet. I love groundworks. I fucking love it because it's quality work. It's the fucking heartbeat of a building, jar, and nobody sees it because it's not showy. Do you know what I mean? Not showy.
They know it when it's not done right, Tom.
There you go. So now you're going to make sure that you have proper contractors. Now you can't just tear into this half-assed. You can, as Jerry said, it's a choice. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But all those lovely sewers that you have right now, you're either going to put them into a biocycle unit, which is also known as, used to be previously known as a septic tank, but these are a unit basically that breaks down fucking all in the 1s and 2s. Or if you're lucky enough to live in a semi-urban environment, there might be a main drainage running on the road outside and you'd like to tap into that, please, but you got to use approved contractors. Am I right, Jer?
Operator, hello, how may I connect your call? Yeah, I need someone to take away a big shite. 1 second. Hello, Shit Connectors Incorporated. How may we help you?
What'd be their slogan, Jer?
Number 2's go bye-bye. I don't fucking know. Getting your shit where it needs to be.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to think of, when Bart Simpson, when he, this is as a crematorium, you kill him, we grill him.
What would be a good slogan for Shit Connectors Incorporated? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Now you tapped into the main drain. You still got your site. It ain't beautiful, but it's tidied up. All the broken bits are gone, but it's still rough. It's rough earth all around. That can't be the finished product, Jer. It can't be. But you do have to bring back in the ground workers because these roughnecks, these are the only boys for the job. You're not going to put your fucking electrician doing this job. No, they got to come in and finish off the pathways and whatnot. Any broken bits of stone, tile, fucking anything heavy duty like block and stuff like that, hand it to these boys. You know what I mean?
This is the kind of thing that, like, if you brought your mom around to see the house of a Sunday, is her first time in it, she'd be going around just sort of picking up bits of blocks and slates and shit.
Yes,
I'll just tidy that out of the way for you, Mom. Leave it alone. There's boys coming tomorrow.
That's exactly it. You know what? Rope in what family members you can. Make sure that they, you have insurance, because even any family member could end up suing you. I'm just saying, if they fell over on a Sunday when they shouldn't be there without a hard hat, I'm just saying. But it's time. They will commence the driveways and the pathways. Let them at it. Keep out of their fucking way. But it's the time to be doing it now. Keeping in mind, work is tipping away inside all the time. You have to go back inside now, Jer, because now you may have to bring back the bricklayers. Tasty bricklayers.
These fuckers.
I wouldn't get the same lad that did the foundation. I wouldn't. I get a fella who's handy with a brick, Jer. Maybe you saw a fucking nice fireplace somewhere and you went, who did that for you now? Tasty, because this is no fucking around. This is the I guess this is second fix. You would say second fix. You know what I mean? They're going to put in, if you're leaving it on show, like a brick on show, or, if it's just going to be blocked, but the hearts and fireplaces need to be finished off. You can't just have a big old fucking hole in the wall, because now you need to know the size of what's actually going in there, because you may put a stove in there or whatnot. I would bring them in now at this point to fucking tidy off the situation. You know what I mean? A nice fireplace.
Remember your festive regulations, Tom.
Of course. Yes, of course. Santa.
Yeah, don't fall asleep here now.
Now, if you are going with gas, now you put in your gas meter. Now you ain't going to be putting it in, but you can, you bring the gas board on whoever you're going with. They'll put it in for you.
If you want your gas flow to be metered, Tom, again, this is a choice.
Fair enough.
All right. Okay, well, hey, Tom, you could live in the house right now.
Yes, you could. You absolutely could. It's not second fixed yet, but you absolutely could. You could maybe have had the lads do up one room. I wouldn't put the whole family in there just yet. I wouldn't put the whole family.
But you could cozy up with herself or himself or whoever it is that you're building this house with.
Yes, you absolutely could. You could, of course, because you know what I mean.
Yeah. You're gonna freeze your bollocks off, but
you know what? It's a good story. Maybe you're fucking done with the place you're in. Maybe, but you know what? You got a roof. You got you got windows. You're doing okay at this point, but
not too bad.
We're closing in.
Okay, let's do it. Well, let's fucking march to the finish here, Tom.
Outdoors is cooking nicely, Jer.
Nice.
We still got the show going on inside, so we're going to head back in. Now, we're still in first fix phase, but we are rounded the final corner at Cheltenham. You know what I mean? We are. You should feel good about yourself at this stage. Now, now you can definitely be heading and picking out nice bits.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, Tom, feel good about yourself, because things get exponentially cheaper from here on.
Depending on taste. Taste is a thing now. You know what I mean? You may have Bangalofs and taste, but you may only have fucking IKEA pockets. You know what I mean? So
okay, first fix me, baby.
First fix and plastering. Now, this is your plastering. They might have had the plastering boys outside doing the render, possibly, maybe. It was a stonemason that finished the outside. It was a bricklayer. Who knows? This might be our first time meeting the plasterer, right? So The main staircase will be fitted by a carpenter, and protectively covered. Oh, fuck me, cover it. Cover it. You'll see lads using roofing felt to just bring it down along and just tack it on nicely with little staples will do fine, but cover it. Do cover it because it'll fucking get destroyed and everything, and you'll never get it right. You'll just have to carpet it afterwards, especially if you went for a nice oak stairs. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to be fair fucking sick, Ger. If you're still plasters now are going to tack ceiling. So tack literally, as it sounds, little flat nails. They're plasterboards tacks. Hold ups. These boys are shit hot at this. They're going to hold ceiling. They won't be insulated typically for going to the ceiling, but you'll just get normal plasterboards put to the ceiling and tacked on nicely. Because don't worry, they're going to be. If it's got little dents from the hammer, don't worry about that. That's all going to be skimmed over. It's going to be skimmed over.
That's not a right now problem.
Now, typically these days, and I would always suggest this. Once upon a time, people just used to skim straight onto plasterwork, the blockwork inside the house. But you know what? Why not get more insulation in at this stage?
Yeah.
So it would be, they'll be basically going to stick insulated plasterboards to the inside of your wall. Why not? It makes them fucking warm all year round. It really does. The coldness can block wall, especially in Ireland. Why not? So pretty much everybody will be out of the way. Let the plasters go in to fuck and do this. They'll be plasterboarding everywhere. You hear words like scrim and stuff like that being bandied about. Just have plenty of it on fucking site. Now, your plasters should do this. Your carpenters may do it for you. But things like where windows meet fucking window boards, where there's a possibility any water can get in, it may sound like a cheapy thing to do, but mastic in a pumped-in gun.
Oh, yeah.
It's got it. I'd say you've sold enough fucking mastic down through the years to fucking... I'd say you could block the Suez Canal at this stage.
By the fucking box load,
yeah. But it's got to be used around all windows, indoors, and possibly, outdoors as well. No harm to put a fucking bead of it there, just as a failsafe, because you don't want water getting through the first one. You sure shit don't want it getting through the second one. So it's just something to be aware of. You won't be doing it. Let somebody taste you do it. So now all insulation to be installed. So you're going to do a stud out now where walls are really taking shape, Jar. Ceilings are taking shape. The house gets echoey now. The house gets really echoey. And you're going, fuck, we have rooms. Now I can physically feel the walls where my bed is going. Fuck, I thought we were going to have a fucking super king size. Sweetheart, we're having a fucking normal size double, I can tell you.
Yeah. Those insulated slabs really bit into the room there.
It really does. It'll take 2 inches off the wall. It's more. It'll take 2.5 inches off the wall. It'll be a 2-inch slab on the back, or 65 mil or thereabouts. It'll take off. You'll be glad you did it. So things like, why not? Jerry would definitely floor the attic at this stage. Oh, I would. Roof and insulation, you'll see it. I mean, they call it fiberglass. It's not really the same as the itchy stuff it used to be. You have a couple of alternatives. Fuck it. You can use lamb's wool if you want it right now.
Don't forget, we're building this house on the side of Croagh Patrick, so this is going to be cold as fuck.
Yes. Yeah. So why not? Why fucking not? Get it nice and hot. Get it all in there now. Now's the time to be doing. Don't be hauling that up there when the lads are going painting. You know what I mean? Because that itchy old shit. If you are thinking of doing it yourself, fucking dress appropriately. Put on a Tyvek fucking condom suit. You know the ones.
Yes.
You know the ones.
The CSI suits.
Yeah, exactly. So, sure. Now you can start rubbing your hands together. Now you can start feeling proud of yourself. But you still need a few pounds in the pocket. Because now we're into the magical. This is where it gets pretty. The illustrious second fix stage. You start, taking delivery of that snazzy bat you saw in the Kardashians, like most first timers, or like normal people. You just head to fucking IKEA with a horse box that you borrowed off your father. You know what I mean? It's called, or you're going scrolling through Done Deal to see who wants to give away no shame in it. Done it myself many's a time. Get a free fucking cabinet. It'll get you through the first fucking year. And you won't hear much given out from fucking Jeremy right over there, I would imagine.
And here's the thing, Tom, I want to say about the second fix. Yeah. You alluded to it there a second ago. Here is where you can start to be a pain in the hole.
Yes.
Like, here's when you can start being particular. You said earlier that we were hammering up slabs. Don't mind if there's a dent in it here and there, because that's first fix. A second fix is going to come along and cover that.
Yeah.
You're gonna plaster over it. You're not gonna see it. So don't be there about your plaster going like, "Oh, I think you made a mark on the slab there. Will you put up a fresh one?" No, that's not the time. But now when the second fix is going on, and this is going to be the nice stuff that you are going to have to look about, this is when you can say you can start saying, yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, 110%.
That joint needs to be tastier there.
we can only assume that all the trades you've gotten are absolutely fantastic. But at this point, at any fucking point, if you can be the pay in the hole if you're paying the bills, but at the same time, this is what you're going to end up seeing. Now, if you have the Boggs Notion, I would have advised maybe having an engineer on board too. He won't run he'll run it for you, or she'll run it for you, but they'll cost up all the money. It's your job. It's your project manager, but no harm. But this is the stuff you'll see for the rest of your life that I swear to shit, as Gerry just said, that fucking joint, that one fucking window board sitting wrong, like that shit will fucking eat away at you because you project manage this thing. So
yeah.
You're going to have carpenters hanging internal doors, skirting, architrave. The architrave is the nice little frame that goes around.
Yes.
Because I've heard people go, what the fuck's an architrave? It's the tiny little lovely skirt, i.e. frame that goes around the door. Yeah. That's just
door skirting.
It is door skirting. That's it. It's like Polish people don't have a word for toes. Do you know that? They have fingers of your feet.
Well, that works too.
And it works fine. Same as that skirting, door skirting.
Yeah. That's like I was drunk one night and I fell over and one of the lads said to me, like, are you all right? And I said, because I was drunk, I said, I hurt the wrist of my foot.
Why not? It works.
And he goes, your ankle? I goes, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, but you know what? There's times when you can be overcomplicating things too. I totally got you. Yeah. So like the likes of the stairs balustrade and the handrails, they're all going to be fitted now, as well as, the linen cupboard that, if you would, I get as many shelves, an imaginative fucker. Just get him in there and just get as many shelves as you can in that linen cupboard.
And I'm just going to say it as well for your linen cupboard, or indeed the hot press, as
hot press, yeah.
Here. Get a light put in it.
Yes.
Like, tell the McBride said that. Get a light put in your hot press. Okay, you heard it here first.
110%. You know what? We could put that way back at actual first fix. Let's put that way back at first fix. Don't be shy.
This is it. This is exactly what it is, Tom. You need to know this going in, because now you're in your second fix and you go, hey, do you know what would be nice in the hot press if we put a light in it? That's a good idea. And the electrician just goes, oh, for fuck's sake.
The only thing is he'll probably have taken wiring in there, and it's not going to be a major deal because it doesn't have to be pretty. You can leave conduit outside the wall.
Right.
You just happen to pick the one place. You're making a good point, but you're picking the one place you could probably go, fine. I'll just run it up the wall. It don't have to be pretty, but you're dead right. Now the loft ladder, like the styra, the fit the attic door.
Up there.
Get it up there, because now it's going to be Persian cold coming down from it. You need to close that off. Close that off now, because you're going to be thinking about getting timber floors in. Nice. Obviously laid by carpenters. You can give it a go yourself, but this first time, again, we're assuming you're not dirtying your hands. You're project managing the whole thing. Tiles. Have your tiles fucking on site, because they're mad bastards. Good tilers are mad bastards. They'll fuck off faster. If you have...
they'll be gone.
They will not wait around for you to go, I'm just going to pop and get it. They go, look, because them boys have 10 jobs on. They ain't waiting around.
Ain't fucking around.
You won't see them for 10 weeks afterwards. So have your tiles and shit picked and where they're going. Depending on how good you laid that floor earlier, he may say leveling compound. Now, I know that sounds like a fake word, like, go off and get me a bag of first fix. It isn't. A leveling compound is actually a real thing. It's very, 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 very watery cement. Cement.
It's builder's bluff.
Exactly. Builder's bluff is the perfect word. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time. It gets if the room is sloping a little bit, if it wasn't done, don't worry, your house ain't going to fall down. Just sometimes sometimes it can sometimes good, sometimes shit. Sometimes this squares it all up. It squares it all up.
And even if you don't do this, you're not going to fucking plummet to your death in your sitting room.
Not at all. It'll be fine. Just be aware that you may be asked to get some of this stuff. It's not a joke. Nobody's sending you off for the fucking chocolate teapot or the bag of sparks for the fucking angle grinder. No. This is a real thing.
Bag of self-leveling compound. It's a real thing.
Yeah. So the likes of, inbuilt, if you are having, built-in bedroom fucking furniture and stuff like that, get that done now.
And then when all that's in, Tom, you can turn around and go like, oh, yeah, no, I don't really like it. Can I change it?
Oh, of course you can. For double / 2.5 times the price. Yeah.
Same again. They'll fucking charge you for picking the hole. As simple as that.
There you go. If you got deep enough pockets, you can do whatever the fuck you want. We're just running with.
And again, like, here's the thing, Tom. You can live in the house. You can basically live in the house here now. And if money is a thing, you don't have to finish every room of the house in one go.
No.
Like, there's not a house in the country that doesn't have a spare room that has no fucking carpet on it or no wood floor on it.
100%, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That'll be done when the money and necessity.
There's almost a shame thing goes with this. Like, whatever you have to do to get in the fucking door, don't worry about it. We're just giving you we're giving you green lights all the way through here on the basic assumption. This would be the dream scenario. I have literally lived on building sites, like don't think that you got to get this thing out the fucking gap. If you can get one room and something to cook a fucking sausage in the evening, that'll do you and anybody.
That'll do you for now.
That'll do you for fucking 6 months. It's yours and you're in the fucking door.
The portaloo is still outside. You'll notice we haven't got rid of it yet.
No, exactly. So, start planning house party, ladies and gents. I'm just saying, given the normal scenario where you may have to just fucking living in one room, where again, an aunt died, left you a ball of money from America, you're getting it finished out the fucking gap, right? So all that stands between you and eternity here now is a few pernickety bits that have to be done. They fucking have to be done. This is what some wankers will call it, like third fix and stuff like that. That's actually almost a piss take on lads. If you meet a carpenter who's somebody's after telling you he's a third fix, in other words, the fucker, he don't know what he's at.
To go back to our cake analogy, you've made a birthday cake, but you need candles on it.
Exactly. So now, like, all the wiring connected through the consumer unit. So it's all going into the meter again, as Gerry said,
Yeah, it's your money. You do what you want with it.
So you will, of course, you'll have that box, either in the utility or the hall.
Box in the hall, yes.
Yeah.
The fuse box. Right, yeah.
The trip switch, which will go on occasion. It will go on occasion,
Yeah. Don't call a man out to fucking... Don't call somebody out. Don't call
a brush
an
handle.
electrician or man or a lady out here.
Every house is a brush
handle. You know how to do this.
Yeah, put it back up to fuck.
Don't want to derail you, Tom, because I know we've been going on, but this is just so fascinating to me. The consumer units that we have now, the box in the hall, it's a trip switch. It's a switch that's either up or down. It clicks up or it clicks down. But I remember back, the one that we had at home in the 80s with actual ceramic fuses, right?
With a glass front.
With a glass front. A little window. What it was the fuse itself had, like, the end of the fuse was a little wedge of whatever it was. And when the fuse blew, it shot out that little wedge like a little bullet. And when that shot out and broke the glass window, that's how you knew which fuse was gone.
And you had to go and have a box of fucking fuses.
Yeah. Or when you'd put the fuse back in, you would never replace the little glass window. So eventually all the little glass windows were gone and you just had to eyeball it. And if you didn't have a fuse, Tom...
Oh, yeah, go on. I know what you're going to say, but go on. Tell everybody what only a mad fucker
You could wrap it with a little bit of fucking tin foil or something and put it back in, and that would do you for a couple of days until you got a fuse, and eventually that might actually be, a couple of weeks, months, or years.
I saw a 10 pence used on a big fuse in a hotel I'm using inverted commas here, worked in. The same place had an electrical fire 5 years before I'd fucking worked there, Jar, and they still insisted, and miserable bastards put a 10 pence piece into, and we were well into the euro at this stage. Like, they had a 10 pence piece in there this long time. And when I went to fucking check these, I got lifted and shot across. I hit like 8 feet through the air, hit the fucking wall. Only that I was young and fucking sturdy enough at the time.
You could take a shot or two.
10 pence piece. So thank Christ they brought in the switches. However, those convoluted fucking things. Now, if this ping pops the glass and looks in it, and you must change and screw off and fucking put a switch in. Switches have been around.
The switch in.
Switches have been around way longer than fuses have been around. I don't know how they didn't. Anyway,
any rate,
we were digressing there, but you're 100% right. Sync units and stuff like that. Oh, now look, I put this in here, but it fucking hell tonight. Your earth, you will often look under your sink and you will see a little tag and the green and yellow wire attached to said tags. It's attached to things like the copper underneath that will. It goes back to an earth rod that was driven outside in the ground. Everything electrical will have blue, brown, and a yellow and green. The yellow and green connects to everything, including all your fucking fixtures and fittings and plumbing ware that is made out of steel or copper, and mostly fucking copper because it's so conductive. And they will all eventually be put outside and wrapped around a steel bar that's driven 3 feet into the fucking ground. Simple as that. Old school as Jesus.
That's just how electricity works, Tom. I honestly thought that these days and age they would have come up with something fancier than this, than to, tie it all back to a rod that's pounded into the fucking ground,
You'd love to think so, but no. Lightning can still strike, Jar. Lightning can still strike. Lightning ain't changed its fucking slap, so... The thing is, nowadays, a lot of things won't actually transfer electricity through the house like they used to. But still, you still got to earth everything. You got to earth everything because if it doesn't, most likely fire is where you're at. most likely, rather than you actually getting fucking blasted while brushing your fucking teeth. Sinks, everything, all sanitary ware fitted and plumbed, everything put in at this stage. All your plumbing gear, all your kitchen gear, you know, your rads, your towel rails, all fitted, plumbed in, underfloor heating loops connected into the big, they call it a manifold. A manifold is where anything in a car or a house where a bunch of things all come together at once. It's a manifold. All your loops, they'll all come together.
You connect two things to something, that thing's a manifold.
It's a manifold. So essentially all your pipe work and connections, you know, they all have to be flushed through. You'll see them flushed through and putting a little pump on the end of it with a little meter. They got to make sure there's no holes in the fucking things. Because sometimes when timber flooring goes down and stuff like that, a fucking nail will go through something somewhere and you may not see it now, but you may fucking feel it in 6 months' time when all of a sudden your foot goes through something. It can happen. So they will have to pressure test it this time. I don't know if you want to stand over your plumber's fucking shoulder and while he does it or while she does it. I know a female plumber, so who knows? It does have to be done. I may as well tell you. So again, you just want to break chat and fucking have a conversation with your plumber going, hey, you pressure testing today?
And the pressure testing, Tom, it's real simple. They pump it full of air and they hold it at and the little gauge that says, okay, it's holding at 40 bar or whatever like that. And you fuck off for a couple of hours and you come back later on. And if it's dipped from that, there's a leak somewhere.
Yep, there's a leak somewhere. And there's ways of finding that through dye, through everything else. Sometimes it's very obvious. If you pump water through it, you may find where it is. But look, that's up for your plumber to teach you on the day. We ain't a plumber. Exactly. I'm just saying, the majority of the things we've mentioned today can also be used as conversation pieces with your actual trades on site. You know what I mean? Just to be sound about things, rather than you trying to sound like I know more than you. Saying things like, we pressure testing today. Cool. It's a nice...
I got that first fix for you in the shop.
Again, somebody's going to put shit in your sandwich when you start talking like that. It's just, you got to be careful.
Yeah, that kind of talk just costs you €1,000.
All of a sudden, you just see somebody start going, did we bring the saddle? Did we bring the saddle? Because we're about to throw it on this mofo. So look, Jared, we've almost reached our Everest. We've left base camp and we're on. The Sherpers are fucking leading us all the way up now at this stage. We are putting on the oxygen tanks. We're fucking ready, right? We're ready. Now, this next bit, Tom and Gerry and Sons have been talked about this on numerous occasions down through the years. Now is
our feelings known.
Book a fucking weekend in West Cork or week in West Cork and just fuck off. Having left a list of or you know what, just leave a list in each room of your colors and their locations. Yes, it's the fucking painting section. Get a man and just go on holidays. Don't even be around for this.
You have earned a break at this stage. Yep. You've been working at this house for 14 days. 14 days ago since you first turned aside, we're here. No, you've earned the time. Fuck off. Yeah, let someone else paint it. Have nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do. Come back, thumbs up, shake hands, few bob. Look, thanks very much for that. Don't be fucking painting. Don't be painting. Especially a new house. You don't want to be... It's one thing if you got to paint the inside of a fucking cupboard and nobody be looking at it. But this is a new house. Get them in. Get the decorators
you got to prime walls. You got to paint a wall 4 times before you put a colour on it.
So, I mean, they'll be cutting in things and stuff like that. So just let the man at it. Who knows?
Leave him to it.
Yeah, leave him to it. Also, you got landscaping to think about, Jerry. You have put in your lovely footpaths in your driveway and stuff. But like I talked about earlier, right at the very beginning, when we
peeled the cheese off the pizza, Tom.
Time to get that cheese back out because you capped that cheese. Now, this is something I want you to remember. I genuinely hope somebody builds a house off the basis of this.
I want to see it. I want to see this house.
If you do get somebody to peel off the pizza, don't let him just dump it, because you might be driving the dumper that day. Don't just dump it in the... And this is something people never think of. They fuck it over in the corner of the site. Listen, it might be 2.5 years, 3 years before you get to actually get to this point. That's the truth be told, right? There's a man up the road, Jerry, I swear to God, literally, no joke, it's 16 years. 16 years since he was able to... And now he's doing some fucking job on it now. The house is finished, all bar the garden. He's getting the landscaping done now. And that's fair enough.
The money might have ran out, Tom. I got to tell you, this is...
School uniforms are more important than a fucking rose bush. I can tell you that much, Jeff. As you know. You know what I mean? But he didn't do the right thing. They had to haul away the soil that was there. He thought it was perfect, but it wasn't stored well. When it's your topsoil, think of it as a completely different product. It is the fucking icing or the cheese, and if the fucking subsoil is the pizza dough, 2 completely different things. You have to mind it. You got to get that digger man to put it in the corner nicely and then rub his bucket. I know this sounds really weird, but it's called capping. To put a nice shiny finish on the outside. Don't leave it all busted up like Mount Doom.
That.
Yeah, because water will hit that and then run off the sides of it. It genuinely will. It creates a shell on the outside. And all the things that make topsoil, i.e. it's full of lovely vegetation where shit will grow and it's not dead like fucking subsoil, which so nothing grows, it turns to subsoil because over that 3-year period, Jer, all the minerals and fucking all the minerals, all the fucking minerals. You got the minerals, have you? You got the minerals. Have a look, boy. You got the fucking minerals
gone.
All the minerals are washed away because you left it bushed open for the fucking world and its mother's, environment to flow through it. It's good for nothing. Good for nothing. It's only meant for filling fucking holes out in I don't know where. Azerbaijan. So cap it. You'll be delighted. It'll stink when you open it because it's vegetation. It's all the time rotting. But now she's ready to bring back in. And I swear to God, your landscaper will go, I have a fucking new respect for you and I will not be thrown. See, all these things are optics, Ger. If you half look like you fucking know what you're doing, you won't get rid too bad. Do you know what I mean?
And tell me, Tom, tell me now, would it have been a thing when you had that topsoil over there? What if you had it covered it like silage? Would that have been good or bad?
I wouldn't bother my hole. You look like a mad cunt. It depends on how much if you stripped away a fucking monster load of it, then where are you going to get? But yeah, cover it. By all means, cover it. Okay. By all means, cover it. It'll be all the better for it when it comes back over because stuff will grow. It'll be like it never came away from the ground. Don't dump it over there. It won't come back.
I get you.
It'll come back like the fucking soldiers out in Namjar. It'll come back looking the same, but shook. It just won't, never be right again.
Call me baby killer.
Exactly. So now a smart person, Gerry, if they had a ball of money and they were waiting for ages for things like planning to come through, fully come through and stuff, I would have gone out to, sales. I would have gone to a sale in a big fucking nursery and buy yourself a bunch of fucking,
flowers.
Trees. Yeah. I wouldn't go flowers just yet, but I'd buy fucking trees, if you got you know what I mean? And get them in to fuck. Nobody's going to pull you on. If you're bored and you kind of know the planning's coming, but you just can't start yet. Why not plant your fucking... I get you. And you'll be glad because now you're 2-3 years down the line and now they're up to fucking, they're semi-mature trees. People will think, geez, this fella's again, the optics are good. The next fella in might go, this couple know, or this man or woman, they know what they're at. I don't think I'll be able to throw the saddle on here. Do you know? Just keeping them fucking on their toes without actually being the bollocks about it. So,
I get you.
Things are looking good, Jer. Place is painted out. Fucking lovely. But I would always urge people to do this. If you do have to move in, which is half a fucking building. But again, we're talking now like you've got a ball of money from the aunt who died in America.
Yes. God love her.
Stay away. You want the whole house cleaned out thoroughly. Now, I would stand over lads to take away shit with them, like if they don't mind. Have this, before you bring the whole family over and all the fucking rest of it, you want to give it a good clean out and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you can get protective stuff for the inside of windows when the windows do go in. The stuff, Ger, you can literally paint it on and then peel it off afterwards. You'll see it. It's foggy looking. Why not get that? It protects the glass on the inside from scratches, which may happen. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Things like stabilizing bolts, which, Gerry, you've probably done a tutorial on at some stage, coming out of things like washing machines and, I
work in a place that sold washing machines, and the amount of people that come back and say, oh, yeah, that washing machine was broke when I got it. No, you got it and you broke it.
It has a stabilizing bolt in the back. So side toilet, put it off hire at this stage.
Good luck. Thank you
know
for
what I mean? Because, like that, it's handy for the lads outside, not to be traipsing boots in. Yes, you're plumbed, but not to be traipsing boots in. Fucking in and out. It's nice to have it outside. Lads prefer to use the side toilet anyway. They really do.
Why?
Yeah, typically. So now you're going to be taking a reading on all meters because now you're kicking off. You're kicking off as your own. Carpets are going in if you're having carpets or whatever. Yeah, have them in now.
Remember, those meters are optional.
Yeah, of course, because you do want to kick off from the point of move in and all the rest. Because you may have worked a deal, say, with your carpenters and stuff like that, where they're going, listen, there's this factor of fucking electricity is going to be used while we're here. They'll be coming off the price. It could happen. Depending on the size of the fucking house, it could happen. Carpets are in. This is the big moment. This is the moment where this is it. This is the moment where you're like, fuck. This is a very definitive moment that you're telling the world, I'm coming off self-build insurance and it's switching to a homeowner's policy, Jer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That nice.
There's something romantic about it, Tom.
Just imagine you're pulled up in the car You're on the mobile and you're stringing up, I don't know, Allianz or one of them. You're just looking out at whatever things you like to look out at, whether it's the sea or just now fucking bush. And you make that call. You just hang it up and go, I'm a fucking homeowner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah. Do you know what you do next year? You move in.
I was going to say you fucking ring up the ESB and say, go fuck yourselves. Haven't paid you yet. I'm not paying you now.
Fucking right. I'm going off grid, motherfuckers.
You move in, Tom.
You move in. There are, of course, there are wind turbines and fucking, river turbines you can set up to actually try and go off grid. But the ESB, because Ireland doesn't want anybody going off grid, unfortunately, you will have to pay some sort of fee to have cables running through. You just
at this stage, Tom, you would want to hope you've bought a kettle, because now it's time to make yourself a cup of tea in your house.
I can't spoon feed them any further than this. You know what I mean? This is everything else. Go to the weird shit up the middle aisle of fucking Aldi. Go to wherever Bang Olufsen and kit your place out ridiculous, like something out of fucking the Kardashians or something like that.
Sit back, turn your heat on, watch all your plaster crack slowly over the next 5 years.
I think it's the house falling down. It's not. There will be settlement and stuff like that. There will be. Don't worry. You will have plaster just retract a small bit. There will be cracks. Get handy. Again, if the aunt left you a ball of money in America and you don't want to ever get fucking handy, you just want to call a man in every time there's an issue, the house ain't falling down if a couple of cracks do come in it. Now, if you could fit your fist into those cracks.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a story for a faulty concrete, most like with pyrite in the fucking middle of it, which essentially turns your concrete foundation we talked about into a fucking aero bar.
Well, it's time. That's a story for another podcast. But for now, Tom, do you know what we've done for the fine people, the fine listeners of the Tom and Gerry Show?
Go on, tell us.
We've just built a house.
Just built a house. Less than 2 hours.
Less than 2 hours. We built a house, and if there's anything, guys, thank you very much for listening to that. And if there's anything that we forgot in the middle of that,
I definitely did.
I don't see what it would be. No, Tom, because that was absolutely peerless right there. But if someone did say, "Oh yeah, you forgot to take out the restraining bolt of the,"
fuck, we even put in restraining,
I don't think Shit Movers Incorporated is a real company. All right, yeah, okay. Let us know in the comments.
I do. And if anybody has any questions, which I think at the end of the season, what we'll probably have to do, I would imagine, Ger, is maybe do a collaborative episode at the very end. If you're up for it, we do it.
Yeah, go on.
Little one at the end where we answer people's questions and people's compliments and stuff like that. Where we just name check a few things, because we would definitely. I think they've been coming in. Questions have been coming in. And stuff
absolutely,
like that.
yes.
So, and comments, and people they are. So I think it'd be nice to put a combination together at the very end. So definitely this one is going to raise a couple of questions. If we can answer them, or at least point you in the right direction, we absolutely fucking will.
Here's a question came in from a reader right here. Why don't you two get real jobs? Okay, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Like I said, we will strive to try and answer that for you. Right now, we have no answer for you on that one. But look,
I don't know. We're winging it. But hey, Tom, another fantastic episode of the Tom and Gerry Show, if I may say so myself. Ladies and gentlemen listening, if you liked what you heard today and you want to hear more, who knows what the next subject of the next episode is? We keep you guessing. But the best way to find out is to follow us on our social media channels, Instagram and Twitter, at Tom and Gerry Show, or some variation of that will get you pretty close to it. Or you can get Tom at Tom O'Mahony, at Tom_O'Mahony on Twitter, at Tom O'Mahony Comedy, I want to say, on Instagram. Hey, stick in Tom O'Mahony. Yeah, you'll find. You're not going to go look hard for Tom O'Mahony, and you're not going to look hard for Jerry McBride either. Tom, what do you want them to do podcast-wise?
Just, you know what to do, everybody, at this stage. If you have hit subscribe. If you haven't, fucking do. Trust me. We have some very, very variable things that have come on. If you want to have a go, Jesus Christ, I wonder how many lads have done. This is season 6. Clearly, there was 5 more seasons before this. Go have a listen. This is a thing we run every couple of weeks. We bring out a new fucking season. We've been getting very good at it late. So I would like you all to please share at the very least. But if you could, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Acast or wherever you can leave a comment and a 5-star review, do, please. Because what it does, genuinely, it's not for our actual benefit, but what it does is it makes it tastier on the algorithm. More people will find it. We are rocking a 5-star clean sweep on the Irish Apple Podcast. We're clean sweep of 5 stars. So it's pretty class. Feel free to leave a comment.
Don't break our hearts on that one.
1 or 2 did on like an American one. Just like a rake of 5s. And then somebody just being a dick just went, I'm going to give it a 1 star. And you can't see who did it. And you're like, You fucking pussy. Who would do such a thing? But look,
I have a few suspects. Other than that, what else can you do? Not a whole pile. Well, you can appreciate the wonderful artwork of the Tom and Gerry Show done by the marvelous Rob Steers. Give him an L follow there if you're on Twitter. Rob Steers, Stears. He does all kinds of wonderful artwork and such like, and he did our artwork for us, and we love it very much. Other than that, we've got bonus episodes coming out this Thursday. Tom, we've another guest coming along to tell us their worst gig ever. Can't wait to hear that one. Again, keep an eye on the socials and you'll find out before anybody else. And after that, Tom, I think we should go to the house that Tom and Gerry built. What do you think?
Let's crack open an old beer. Sit down on a pallet because we haven't the price of the furniture. And just stare at what would be the television because we've blown it all on really nice fucking paving outside. Yeah. Ger, let's hit the bricks.
Care, Tom.
Good luck.